Jess, I really need your help today. I think more than I ever have in the history of our company, because your face when we talk about the Heat and Jimmy Butler and Kobe, yeah, your face speaks for what I know is the audience outside of Miami. And Zaslow is a bigger homer than Mike.
I just don't think that's true or possible. I don't think that's true.
I'm telling you.
It's impossible, Dan.
I think that Zaslow is more than Parakeet Cortez.
Ask him what he thought about Xavier Restrepo's 40 time and see what he says. And then we can decide who's a bigger homer. But it's really hard to beat Mike and Jeremy.
So this is what I need your help with, because I think that Jimmy Butler's stuff is going to contaminate the show, poison it. And I've seen over the last, 12 months, you have been beaten down by heat disease. Like there's no subject around here that
it's called heat stroke.
Any amount of heat talk makes, like, I see it on your face, and when I see it on your face, I see the rest of our audience outside of Miami.
I've hated the Miami Heat since the decision, because Michael Wilbon told me LeBron James was going to come to the Bulls and he didn't. And then I moved here and I hated them even more because I had to sit next to Mike Ryan and Jeremy for 4 years.
So what am I going to do today?
I just can't do it, Dan. I can't do it anymore.
Okay.
No,
but I have to do it. Jeremy just ran across the street for live coverage. He just ran across traffic. What are you laughing about?
What if we just tell him he's going to be on the air, but we really just leave him across the street?
I think that's what Dan was planning to do already.
I have a problem, though, because, Roy, you can vouch for this. Like, who's a bigger Heat homer, Zaslow or Mike Ryan?
Oh, it's John Zaslow. He bought a championship ring.
What? He did?
I think he owns.
That's crazy.
No, I think he owns 2 championship rings that the team gave him. Why did you just accuse him of buying a championship ring?
He bought the championship ring.
That is not in any way true.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in a cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
If you were not listening during the Shadow Show, I do believe that I just heard Roy make an accusation against Jonathan Zaslow that is the single greatest insult uttered from one person who works here to another that I have ever heard. I read on the face of Jonathan Zaslow more hatred for Roy, who he's loved all his life. More hatred for Roy for accusing Jonathan Zaslow of buying a Miami Heat championship ring instead of
undeserved.
Earning it.
Earned, not given. You've heard that before, right? Earned, not given.
Hey, I didn't say you didn't earn it.
Okay.
I just said you bought it.
That is a shocking accusation. That's not how I expect to start a Tuesday. I thought I was coming in here. I thought everybody's feeling good about themselves. I thought we're going to be all over the Heat's tip tonight because Jimmy Butler is here and he's part of the enemy. I'm just saying, all right? I thought we were all on the same page, and that is a heavy accusation.
What do you think, hypothetically, hard times, Zaslow Manor, what do you think you could get for those rings?
You know, let's just put it this way, all right? Everybody knows that if their house caught fire in the middle of the night, we all have that one thing that we would grab on the way out. and the box with my rings in it. That's right, rings, plural.
Children.
Plural. The box with my rings in it. That's what I'd be grabbing. So the best way to answer that question is priceless, baby.
Okay, let's say hypothetically you have to sell something, and in this weird world, it's like a Zaslow fan that just wants Zaslow memorabilia, and it is either one of your rings or your children's birth certificates.
Birth certificate. You can get another.
Yeah, you're going to know one.
No problem. I can't go to the championship ring store and get another one with Zaslow engraved on it. No, but I can go to the birth
You
certificate
can.
store.
You bought the first one. You could just buy another
Okay,
one.
that's insulting.
You guys
all right?
need to be nicer to him.
So he didn't buy it. The team gave it to him.
You stole it.
I stole it. How do you steal something with your name on it? It has my name on it.
All right, so Roy, that was shocking, okay? I can't think of anything worse in the executive producer seat than to have someone new as a co-host.
It's not how you make someone feel wanted.
It's unbelievable that you would accuse him of buying his championship ring.
Unsolicited.
Well, he made an accusation there that I would also make of Zaslow. He was actually paid to wear that ring because the Heat paid him for years as the pregame, postgame.
Oh my God! How many people on the
Hold
show have been on the Heat payroll?
Well,
Well, okay,
not gonna say
that's
he wasn't.
That's
Here's the
not
clarification.
that's not true. I
Okay,
was
here we
paid
go.
through the radio station,
This is how it
not
works.
the Heat. I've never been on the Heat's payroll. I do have to mention. that.
Yeah,
Jeremy says the same thing,
Jeremy's
please.
paid by
Does the media get-
regional network.
Does
Okay.
the media get talking points from the Heat?
Yes,
like
of
this is
course.
what's going to be put out there
Billy,
because like
that
it
might be the
feels like
stupidest question that you've
Everybody
ever
gets
it
asked.
just. Well, I asked a pretty
Well.
bad hypothetical earlier.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so go ahead and do that then, Billy, if you prefer.
Well, no, we can get to that later. We're talking about the Heat now. I'm just
The
saying.
talking
like,
points this week were the Jimmy Butler tribute video to get a gauge for what the fans want, to get a gauge for what the reaction's going to be, right? You're told to put feelers out there on the tribute video.
I am certainly not told anything since I stopped being on the broadcast. I haven't been on that broadcast since the year 2022 of our Lord, all right? Since then, I've never been told anything, all right? The words that come out of that's mouth, the words that come from this lips,
you said
all
that
from this
very.
ring.
You said that very poorly.
hold on.
You said that very poorly. The
Are
seat-
we live?
The seat gets everyone.
Erase that.
About the words coming out of that
Let's
lip.
start over.
Wait a minute. Let's go to a real broadcaster live across the street. Jeremy Taché is in the weeds with the Miami Heat because it's a very serious day. The Jimmy Butler is returning to the Miami Heat. Let's go out to Jeremy Taché. He is the first reporter who's out there right around the ambiance. What's going on out there, Jeremy?
Dan, we wanted to be the very first ones on this story as the energy gathers here outside the Kaseya Center. We have Dwayne Wade over my right shoulder, but we know that Jimmy Butler will be looking over both shoulders as the Heat approach him tonight. Jeremy Taché, Meadowlark Media, here outside the Kaseya Center.
Why is he wearing sunglasses? The sun is rising behind him, and there's a building in the way. He's standing in shadows.
All right, that's a live report. Thank
There
you.
is indeed a reflection off the building across the street.
The voice too. I don't like it.
What, the sing-songy
Yeah,
broadcaster
like
voice?
keep that for your paid stuff.
No,
over
that's
at Miami
that's
Heat.
no. He wants
Jeremy
to.
Taché, Meadowlark Media.
He wants.
He already got his marching orders, Dan. He went inside, got his marching orders, and came back out.
No, he wants to run between both worlds and then eventually be a sideline reporter who's playing a kaleidoscope or playing doing something.
A xylophone?
A xylophone. Excuse me.
Kaleidoscope is that thing that looks like a. Yeah.
Yes, it would have been a better joke as a xylophone. But he wants to be a sideline reporter who dabbles in the arts, but he's got to go sell his soul with cheese broadcasting first.
I am selling grilled cheese. Is that what you said out here, Dan? Grilled cheese? No, they don't sell grilled cheese at Big Face Coffee, but they do sell $50 cups of coffee unless you're a Golden State Warriors employee, in which case that will cost you $30. That's the latest report from Jimmy Butler and his camp here outside the Kaseya Center. Jeremy Taché, Meadowlark Media.
That's good information. Thank you, Jeremy. We'll be checking back in over the course
Do
of
we
the
have
next
to?
important 4 hours. He's dying to talk about this stuff.
He's going to be out there for 4 hours?
I mean, it's a big day. This is the big story of the day. Well, Juju Watkins should be the big story of the day, but locally, locally.
I feel like this game has been it just needs to happen already because we've been talking about it for so long. We just need to get this over with.
I'm just glad that they won the other day, man. You think I need 11-game losing streak as the headline on national TV? I don't need that in my life.
Okay, but let me ask you guys this question because I would imagine the nation at large is weary of all of this, especially here. I would say that there's just a general fatigue about, really, we're going to make all of this noise about Jimmy Butler? When, yeah, he kind of made himself a star in Miami and got the things that he wanted in what was a blessed marriage for both parties for the entire time they were together. And then at the end, he said, I'm more valuable than this. And since then has proved it because the last 16 games, I think we can all say, oh, he was right. All those 40-point games were required from him in the playoffs. He had 8 of them, never won in the regular season. So these guys were helpers. Bam, all-star, Olympian, champion, winner guy. But you're a number 2, and you're a number 2. And look at what it looks like when it's you and Hero as the number 1. Jimmy ends up winning there. He's coming back a winner on what this looks like. But what I want to ask Jessica about, and the audience at large, is what? Because I hate pre-games, but this stuff we love. The soap opera nonsense, the narratives, the stories, the things that make it all easy and dumb, but is fun for content. But when sports can be great, what has to happen tonight for it to merit even a fraction of the amount of talk it's gotten when the nation at large says, get Jimmy Butler out of my life? He's not a champion. He's a number 1 who's actually a number 2 because he's never going to win a championship as the lead guy.
I think I'm sorry, just I was going to say I think most everyone is watching tonight hoping Jimmy Butler crushes the Heat.
That's what I was about to say. 50-point game from Jimmy Butler.
Crushes the Heat.
I will go run a lap around the Kaseya Center tomorrow morning.
Kaseya.
So that would make it worth it. It's not game winner. It's not a fight. It's like what's the ideal situation? Like content gold mine of I'm interested in sports and the build up to a regular season game. Like this is the last regular season. This is the last game of the Heat season that will matter because even in those play-in games, we all know this team is not going anywhere. It's broken.
You're not getting fired up for Heat at Chicago playing?
Chicago put up 150 on the Lakers.
Good.
And
They love the play-in
They're
game,
fun.
too.
Chicago's a fun team.
Listen, guys, just a couple of years ago, people were saying the Heat should lose a play-in game so that they could increase their shot at getting the number 1 pick or winning the lottery. And what happened? The Heat went on a magical run because of culture and Jimmy Butler, and they made it all the way to the NBA Finals in a Hollywood-type story that just didn't have that ending that we needed. But once you win and you get in, anything can happen. I think this Heat team can go on a run.
Okay, Billy, thank you for that.
What does this to do with that?
No. Well, I'm going to explain something that's happening with Billy right now. He feels a genuine snort. I'm going to explain exactly what's happening with Billy Gill. Okay, he's been very frustrated for 12 months, more than 12 months, actually probably his lifetime with our show, because he believes. What do you mean? I haven't even made the accusations
I
yet.
can see we're starting with 12 months, and I'm looking at my timeline and life. I don't know what's going on here, but
Okay, over the course of you living in a world where the Heat are talked about the way this show talks about them, I believe that for largely 20 years, you believe that there are things you're not allowed to say about the Miami Heat.
I
because
can. No.
your voice has been suppressed for 20 years around here. And today's your day, Billy Gill, because this is the biggest Heat homer I've ever met.
Him?
This right here.
He's a journalist.
Jonathan.
I am a journalist. I'm not a journalist.
Ignore what he's wearing. He's a journalist.
It's not true.
Jonathan look, Mike Ryan criticizes poisonously the Miami Heat. Zaz will get mad at him. Zaz will not rip the Miami Heat the way Mike Ryan does.
Well, and Mike sits here. Mike sits here and will tell you that he's not watching the Heat. I'm watching the Heat begrudgingly the last couple of months. Like, I wake up in the morning. Now, I don't feel that way today because I'm looking forward to the game tonight. But I'll wake up begrudgingly over the last month. Like, great, the Heat are playing tonight. That's what I got to do for 2.5 hours of my life tonight. Like, Mike Ryan won't watch it, though. I mean, I'm sitting here and hang with him, man.
He'll still tell you what he thinks. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay, but when I talk about Heat fans and the history of this market, what this team means to Zaslow and now Zaslow's kids, because he insisted on passing it down, as someone who was proud, honored to earn working days and nights. His shifts were crazy,
Ooh,
man.
that's why I have all the gray hair. I mean, I did that for 7 years.
All right, so for 7 years, he's doing the post game and then waking up to do the morning show, and he aged about 40 years in 7 years. He arrived here a broken man. He used to be the young one, Tony. Laugh in his face. He used to be the young one. He used to be the kid. And 7 years of loving the Heat, he gave his heart and age over to this franchise.
I gave them years of my life, Tony.
Well, explain Tommy Tighe to me then, because he doesn't have a gray hair on his head.
Well, maybe there's some performance enhancement going on.
Whoa!
I'm just trying to
great Tommy Tighe.
Trying to be reasonable
When I
here.
saw him that day in the studio, did
right.
not look like PED.
The day you threw trash at Tony.
Exactly right.
All right, we go back out to Jeremy Taché now. Jeremy Taché is reporting live at the Kaseya Center, where there's a lot of mood and a lot of fans. What's the energy out there, Jeremy?
I mean, the energy is palpable, Dan. I've got Trevor from Georgia here with me. Now, Trevor was a fan of the Miami Heat because of Jimmy Butler. So, Trevor, what are your thoughts on Jimmy Butler's return to the Kaseya Center?
Oh, I'm excited. I think Jimmy's about to whoop some butt.
Okay, that's not good.
We're not going to talk about that any longer.
All right, very
No more
good.
conversation of that.
Good report
We're
from...
calling it the Butlar-Mageddon.
Just give Trevor the microphone,
Dan, that's totally something you would ask
Trevor, here, would you like the microphone?
Angel to mock up for you.
Sure.
Please.
I think Jimmy's about to do great. He's not, Bam ain't going to do anything. I hope Steph comes out and plays. I'm sorry, Heat, but Jimmy's about to give y'all some whooping.
All right.
I question
you know what?
Sarah
From
here.
here outside the Kaseya Center. Jeremy Taché, Metallark Media.
All right, thank you.
You guys must run into like spring breakers all the time down here this time of year. We ran into a few on Saturday. Okay, well, maybe not where you live. But Dan, I'm sure you do occasionally. I'm walking my dog and there are these like drunk 20-year-olds coming up to us on the sidewalk Saturday night and they're like, "Oh my God, what a cute dog!" And they're like petting her so aggressively, and we're like trying to just like, okay, you're a little intoxicated. It's spring break. We understand. We're gonna keep moving along. And there's like these like hordes of college kids chasing us down the sidewalk trying to pet our dog.
Yes,
that is spring break in Miami.
It is. Well, what they've what they've done to spring break is interesting. We'll go back out to Jeremy in a second. But I did see something yesterday that I've never seen, and I have to think that no one's ever seen before I saw it, because I'm driving and in front of a post office, okay, where you've got a 4-lane stretch of traffic. There is a woman who is squatting in front of the post office, urinating in a bush, but not just that. She's got a yoga mat under one arm. She's got a cigarette in her mouth, and she's holding a sandwich. There's no way, like a sub, there's simply no way that is something that has ever been seen by anybody before. By anybody.
When you gotta go. I mean.
But we'll go back out to Jeremy in a second, but I want to show everybody here because I want everyone to understand how much Zaslow cares about this team. I have a photograph from a long time ago.
Oh, no.
And I don't remember the context exactly of this.
I know what this is.
But I've been sending this photograph to Jonathan Zaslow for, is this 15 years? Because we can mark the date on before a Miami Heat game when the blueprint was at risk, when everybody was scared. Jonathan Zaslow claimed that he was not scared before a game. And this photograph of Jonathan Zaslow not being afraid, being a Heat fan who would never lose hope and would not be despondent, this was Jonathan Zaslow very much believing their season was over.
That right there is now, it was the worst moment of my sports fandom life at the time. It's now the second worst, but that is right after, that's in the bowels of the arena. I just got off doing the post-game show, a post-game where the Miami Heat lost Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals to Boston, and they fell down now 3-2. They were going to Boston now for Game 6. We all know what happened there. LeBron, he had the eyes. Heat win the series. Amazing. But that right there, they fell behind 3-2. And Sedano, I mean, like a snake. I'm sitting there with George Sedano. You see, I got a beer. I'm several beers deep at this point. And Sedano, he sneaks his phone and snaps a picture. and he routinely shares it in a group chat. Very dirty move by Sedano. I mean, look at me. Do I look like I'm posing for a picture?
You're not consenting.
Is that the group chat?
That's
JD
not
Vance is in?
consent.
That's not consent
That's
at all.
not consent.
That seems liable.
So
You should sue Hollywood Sedano.
So like a snake, George Sedano now, and that right there, at the time, it's not anymore. It's now the second lowest, but at the time, that was the lowest I had ever been over one of my teams, and yes, I thought they were going to lose.
How do you feel about Sedano? Because he was down here when he was
snake
here.
for doing that.
Oh, well, snake for doing that. But I want to ask you a little bit deeper. Because down here he was Mr. Miami Heat. Now he's
Right.
over L.A. Hollywood Sedano. He's a big Laker guy.
He's Pacific guy. He's so L.A. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. He's big time L.A. guy.
I don't know what to tell you. What are you, no commenting?
I'm just saying, I don't know what to tell you. Big
What?
time LA
Okay,
guy.
You're a big commenter, though. What do you
Yeah.
like?
But you know what to tell us.
You
He's
do.
a big time LA guy.
I know what to tell you in regards to Sedano
He said
being
he
an
was a
LA
snake.
guy.
It just makes you wonder, did he really like the Heat at all while he was down here or not? I mean, if he's able to flip it that if you were to get the big gig, ESPN LA, they call Zaslow and say, Zaslow, we need you to come out here to
Right.
Tinseltown, Hollywood. We need you to be the voice
No
of
chance.
Los Angeles.
No.
Really?
I'm 305 till I die.
Really? Well, you're not.
But you're 954.
Yeah, you live in Cooper City.
My
That's the
cell
difference.
phone's 305. That's what matters.
You got me there. That's true.
Well,
Everybody knows that.
I need to tell you guys this is this is funny with Zaslow because there are a number of things about him that are super curious. Jeremy Taché is saying that he's got another report that's ready to go. I don't know if we should just break into all programming every time he's ready. I don't trust his judgment on this. What are you guys laughing about?
have
back
you
there?
ever lived in Miami?
Of course, I grew up there. I'm from North Miami Beach.
That's not.
Come on now. NMB Senior High. What?
What?
What do you say?
I like North Miami Beach. Underrated part of the beach.
That's good.
It is.
There's a dog beach up there.
Yes. It's,
You've been to North Miami Beach?
have I been
He
to
grew
North?
up there.
Not a great place.
Sorry, I had to go to that Flanagan's. It's so far. My God.
That
Like,
was
it was
a
like
hike.
a
eternity.
trek.
Yeah.
163rd
Orlando,
Mall.
basically.
That's not Miami, by the way.
It took me an hour and a half to get to that Flanagan.
That's the OG Mall, 163rd Street.
Yeah.
Come on now.
What are you doing?
Talking about North Miami.
It's OG Mall, Dan. Everybody
Yeah.
knows.
I'm repping 305 is what I'm doing. I don't know what you're doing.
What are you doing?
What are you doing there?
Let's go back out to Jeremy. He is
we're doing that?
outside of the Miami Heat's arena. Jimmy Butler is approaching, and Travis, or whatever his name was, reports that Jimmy Butler's here to kick ass.
No, Dan, we are not talking about the OG Mall or OG Ananobi. We're talking about Jimmy Butler here outside the Kaseya Center with Meadowlark Media. I'm Jeremy Taché, and we need to be focusing on the details of this experience. What color will Jimmy Butler's hair be? What color will his shoes be? How petty will he be during the video presentation tonight? Not at the Kaseya Center. That's not how you say it. It's the Kaseya Center here in downtown Miami. Reporting live for Meadowlark Media, I'm Jeremy Taché.
He gets a standing ovation today, right?
Jeremy?
No, Jimmy Butler. Like he should. He meant more to this organization than Alonzo Mourning did.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
He led them to more finals, did he not?
Put his ring in a box and then put Jimmy's rings in a box and see which one shakes out.
Eastern Conference Finals rings, we have a conversation. Zoe came in as a mercenary at the end, if we're going to be perfectly honest. He betrayed the Heat. He left. He didn't want to be here. He had a fit. He left. Then he had his medical situation,
I feel like
which
almost
is
everything
fine.
you just said is factually incorrect.
No, that's not true at all.
The only thing that was correct was the medical situation.
He had a medical situation, but he left town, betrayed this team, and then
That's
all of
not true.
a sudden, he comes crawling back when he realizes easy championship. All I have to do is act as a barnacle on this ship over here, this Carnival cruise liner towards the NBA Finals.
I mean,
Is that not what happened?
He had
No.
that block, though.
That's not what happened?
No, it's not. He had that block, and he, did the freak out on the ground. Great moment, Game 6, 2006.
That block, wow.
Just asking.
Special.
It's done great. He has a school named after him, all the charitable work, all that. But I mean,
Terrible traffic.
he kind of betrayed this. He kind of betrayed this city.
Zoe Summer Groove.
And
What
comes
happened?
crawling back, and all of a sudden we forget about his actions. But
There are
that's fine.
things Billy has not been able to say for 20 years, and he's here to say them to
I'm
your
not
saying.
saying anything that I'm not allowed to say. I will say this. The Heat fan base, very sensitive bunch. Anytime I say anything slightly critical of the team, they say, who hurt you?
Okay, what fan base? I want to hear the fan base that is, you know what? They take criticism really well.
It's not a criticism.
No, but you're saying that when the Heat are criticized, that the fan base is very sensitive. I want to know the fan base that's like, yeah, you know what? We're good with being criticized. No big deal.
Marlins fans, I feel like, are pretty good.
Yeah, they just kind of let it roll
what?
right
That's a
off
good
our
example.
I was
back.
like, yeah, we're bad.
You're right.
Yeah, we're the worst.
Billy was telling me the roster today. I was like, that's not a team.
It's going to be rough.
There's no way.
Thursday's going to be a rough one.
Pablo who?
Let's go out to Jeremy Taché and ask him what the Marlins lineup is going to be. He's going to be on sidelines for the Marlins this year. Jeremy, what is the Marlins lineup going to be? Let's go through it right now outside of the Kaseya Center where Jimmy Butler will soon bring his fury.
Yes, Dan, we are looking forward to not only Miami Heat basketball tonight, but a spring training game between the Marlins and the Yankees at Lone Depot Park. You could expect to see the likes of Nick Fortes, Matt Mervis, and Eric Wagaman in the heart of the order for the Miami Marlins. Reporting live from outside the Kaseya Center, Jeremy Taché, Meadowlark Media.
I would so
Mark
like
Mervis?
Well, here's the thing, Tony. I'm actually scared to do this to him right now because we're live, but I actually want to quiz him on what the lineup might be. And he's really good, like he should know, but I'm not totally sure he does, and that would be a bad position to put him in.
Well, he also could just make it up, and none of us would
Well,
know,
that's
so.
true, too. But then he'd be on
Where's the
live
burger
television.
guy?
Somebody would know. Yeah, the burger guy's not here anymore.
What?
No, he's not here anymore. I liked him. I'll miss him. They made me fall in love with Burger.
Yeah, he's a Ranger now.
Whoa!
Skip went over there. I'm not going to say Skip stole him, but Skip went over there. He's a consultant in Texas, and all of a sudden, Burger's in Texas.
Jessica, I've asked for your help today with some things here. Yes, I'm sorry. Should I or should I not ask Jeremy to take a guess at what the Marlins opening day lineup is going to be?
I would be surprised if he didn't know. He gave me the Cubs' entire opening day lineup for the game last week.
This is harder, though. This is much, much harder. This is...
I think a better way of the game is, Jeremy, name the Marlins lineup, and we stop you when you made someone up.
That's a good idea. Let's do that one.
This is like that scene in Major League where they were building a roster. Like, this guy's dead. Cross him off then.
Okay. Jeremy, what's the final Heat report you have for us?
The final Heat report is that Jessica's heat stroke will have to continue, as we will, without a doubt, continue to discuss this Miami Heat team no matter who is on the roster, whether it's Matt Mervis, Xavier Edwards, Otto Lopez, or Eric Wagaman. We will see an especially strong Heat team tonight because, Dan, as many former players say, that is how the cookie crumbles. Reporting live from outside the Kaseya Center, I'm Jeremy Taché.
That was not a report with information in it.
Those were all real people.
Eric Wagaman?
Yeah.
Otto Lopez?
Yeah, Otto Lopez. Starting
Matt
second
Mervis?
baseman.
Otto Lopez is going to win a Gold Glove.
He is not.
That lineup is a vomit.
I mean, in the Marlins' defense, Connor Norby is hurt.
That's a great sentence. Make that a T-shirt. I'd love a pack of Marlins fans to go to the game with that as their T-shirt. Jeremy, thank you. One of the bad spots that we put Sedano in when we asked him about some of his colleagues, like that snake Sedano, because this needs to be talked about right now, and I'm going to betray some confidences here. And I'm going to ask Zaz to walk a little bit of a labyrinth with me here as a rising star at ESPN, as he is on ESPN Radio, already making people like Clinton Yates jealous because they haven't put in the time the way Zaslow has to be a celebrity picker during March Madness. You have gotten to ESPN now and have a rising star, but over your history, a history that has that fandom in it, you have a number of people at ESPN who are now colleagues that you have excoriated on the air for 15 years, like Brian Windhorst, that you cannot see in the hallways without it being a problem, I would imagine, because no one was harder on Brian Windhorst in the regional or national media than you were during the LeBron years.
I was not a nice person. And he certainly knew about it. I know that he knew about it, all right? And I knew there was going to be a reckoning when I started to work at ESPN Radio. A day is going to come, because I don't book the guests like the producers book the guests, you know? And there's going to be a day where, hey, we're going to have Brian Windhorst on today. And I'm like, oh, crap. So that day came, you know, and I'm going to have to deal with this in some fashion. And I don't know him personally at all, so I have no idea how this is going to go down. And I actually sent a text message to another coworker, and I said, listen, I don't know how I should handle this. Should I call Windhorst right now and just be like, do a whole mea culpa, or are we just going to do this on the air?
But mea culpa, you meant those things when you said them.
Well, yeah. I first of all, it was never anything personal. I never said anything personal about him. Did I mean the things where I would say that, like, he hates the Heat and has a bias against the Heat? Yeah, like, I meant those at the time. Sure, I did. I didn't know how it was going to come off on ESPN radio. I thought maybe I should call him in advance, like, hey, listen, I'm not like a total a-hole, you know?
How many people are there at ESPN that you have to look at the floor when you walk by them because you're afraid they know what you've said?
Well, I will say that he was totally good about it. I didn't even have to do a whole deal explaining myself. He's very professional. I ask him basketball questions. He answers to the best of his ability. But that was the one where I was like, man, this...
A total pro. Always has been.
Total pro.
Windhorst has always been a total pro.
I'm dopey. He's a total pro, and it obviously showed. He's at the top of the list of people. It's like,
But
man,
how many are there? We'll see if we can extract them over the course
Skip
of...
Bayless is not there anymore, so, you know, he would be right up there
Did
also.
Windy know who you were? Like,
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
He knew that he knew that my show had him in the Tool of the Week Hall of Fame, all right? There was a banner hanging in my studio with him hanging from the rafters.
Who wouldn't know of the Tool of the Week Hall of Fame?
Right. That's
sponsored.
what I'm saying. It was sponsored. So
Who was the sponsor?
Oh, it was a tool shop.
like
Yeah,
DeWalt?
tool company. Yeah,
Yeah, Tool of the Week.
No, it was like Harry's Tools in Fort Lauderdale. or
Why
something.
do we not do that? Why have we not just stolen that idea?
Can we have that? Do you
Feldman, I
own the IP for that? Can we buy it from you?
No, you can have it. Yeah,
But we have to put up the tools that are already in the Tool Hall of the Week Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
correct?
Who else is
there
in
were
it?
4 members of
Really?
the Tool of the Week. Yeah, 4. Like every week we nominated someone, but you had to be really special to get into the Hall of Fame.
Who were the
Yeah.
4?
The 4, well, the inaugural member was Brian Windhorst.
Yeah.
Okay? He was the inaugural. You got to remember the times that we're living in.
It was
all
us
right?
against the world, Zaz.
No,
Yes.
it was no,
Yeah,
and it was a
absolutely
fun. He would go around the room, and everyone would nominate a tool, and then I think the fans would call in, and they
Yes.
get to choose who.
And
it
once
was,
you were
right?
in the Hall of Fame, you can't nominate that person
Yeah.
again because they're in the Hall of Fame, and they would hang from the rafters in our studio.
So he was first ballot.
Yeah, well, no, not just he was the first
Inaugural
inductee.
class,
He
yeah.
was in the inaugural
Who were
class.
the other 3?
Brian Windhorst, Michael Wilbon.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Hated
Well,
the Heat.
Michael Wilbon hates the Heat. Benny the Bull, come on. And Jeffrey Loria, of course. Again,
Yeah, of course,
You got to remember
yeah,
the times.
absolutely.
And former Marlin closer Heath Bell.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Those were the 4 members.
Good class.
Well, they were separate classes. We only nominated one at a time.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
You want to give proper respect to
If
each.
you could nominate
you know?
someone right now to be in it, who would it be?
Oh, I'd have to. Well, this is something that you can't just
Yeah.
come up
It's not
with
a
off the top of your
willy-nilly
head.
There's
thing,
no one
yeah.
like off the top of your head that you're like,
No,
oh, if we
gotta
still
put a
did
lot of
this, we
thought.
would put him in the Tool
Got to
Hall
put a
of
lot
Fame.
of thought into it.
And
you
to
know?
clarify, Benny the Bull is not in the Hall of Fame. You call Michael Wilbon Benny the Bull.
We used to. Again, you got to remember the times we were living in back then. All right, it was us against the world.
It's like 15 years ago.
Exactly.
Is your whole life this reality that you've created in your head, or just related
I don't
to
understand
work?
this reality that I created in my head. Like everything I just told you was factual. It's not like it didn't happen. It wasn't
You
a
against the
dream.
world. I mean,
It was us against the world.
You don't think it was us against the world?
who's us?
Miami Heat.
Look around.
Oh, I mean,
So Billy is someone that you might consider for the Tool of the Week Hall of Fame.
no. I was a Heat. I was out there, Heat lifer. I was wearing a
I mean,
Dwayne
this
Wade
week.
jersey. Yeah,
Tool of this
I
week.
had a Dwayne Wade shirt out there when LeBron signed. I was celebrating a La Carreta on Bird Road.
Again,
Yeah,
it's
it was a
important to
huge
understand. I didn't give the tools of the week. It was our listeners. All right, we listened to our audience, to the Miami fans, and then when they're nominated a certain amount of times, they go up in the rafters.
It's beautiful. It's akin to what it is that Greg Cody would do with the PFPI Gala. He has a shrine to his fandom, and Sedano, that snake, loves to send the photo around, and we all do, because that was Heat fandom broken, which is what people are rooting for tonight nationwide. They are the people who tune in will be doing so to watch Jimmy kick their ass. Correct? That is what is the other thing people are rooting for? Because it's not just kick their ass, but, oh, look, you remember the 15 years of this team doing it's us against the world. Well, here comes what you've wrought. It's leading a team that has actually been a champion the last few years, and that storyline is the one that's carrying us today.
I think you're hoping for a moment as well if you're the national audience. Certainly if you're TNT, you're hoping for a moment where you catch Butler gesturing in the direction of Pat Riley. Like that's you
like
know,
he does like that wah, like crying face.
Maybe, Butler and one, and he's just like staring at Riley.
Gives him the old like bicep flex over at Riley.
Some kind of gesture or stare toward Riley is what everyone's going to be wanting tonight.
I was hoping for like closure, like maybe an embrace, a handshake, like, you know what?
So you live in fantasy world.
I'm just saying, like, we go and we embrace, we look up and we see, like, the Eastern Conference Finals banners and look what we did together, and then, like, you move on.
Good Riddance from Green Day plays in the background, and everyone's like,
yeah, then tip off, and then it's all done.
I mean, look what we did together. The other day, Jimmy Butler said we didn't do anything.
I mean,
he literally said we didn't do anything.
Well, he comes in, and then he gets the nostalgia, and he realizes maybe I spoke out of turn.
Was he wrong about that?
The standard is winning championships.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't have a problem with him saying that, because if you ask Pat Riley would say the exact same thing, that they didn't do anything. I don't see that way from a fan perspective, because even not winning the title in 2020 and 2023, those were two of my all-time favorite years as a sports fan. Like, it was amazing, those runs. It didn't end with the championship. We played in the last game. It didn't end with the championship, but still, like, I look back on those 2 years super fondly.
Can we play the sound of Jimmy Butler talking about this?
We was all right. We didn't win nothing like we were supposed to. So, I don't know. We made some cool runs. We had some fun. I think that's all we did.
That's what he say that wasn't true there.
We had fun, but that's all we did. That's what you just said.
Did they have fun?
You know what? I'd like that on my tombstone.
You had fun?
We had fun, but that's all we did. Like, that's a good life.
Conference champions?
This was a good marriage, man. Like, you could get your heart broken because, he's treating me, he's not respecting me as the ex-lover. You could say, man, that was a wild-ass fling. That was fun when he'd go. Again, never seen it before in my life. 0 40-point games his entire career. 8 of them in the postseason. What the hell is that? And you're not even that good of a three-point shooter. Like, what the hell is that? 40-point games. I just saw Andrew Wiggins put up 42 and was reminded, that's a number 1 pick. That's a champion. That's the player that they thought they were trading for, and then 11-game losing streak.
It was the second greatest 5-year stretch in the history of the franchise.
Wendy should put on his tombstone, Tool of the Week Hall of Famer.
Wow.
I think that's what he should have on his tombstone. And Dan, on yours, you should put We Had Fun.
Yeah.
I don't know who the we is, but
I had a source,
just you.
Zaslow, tell me that you had special imaging where you ripped Aaron Goldhammer.
Oh, yeah.
And you now do a show with Aaron
Another
Goldhammer.
coworker.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first show I ever did on ESPN Radio was with him, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be fun. I was brutal to him. Here's the thing. Cleveland, me, don't really mesh. That's what it was back then. And yes, we had we were very mean. My show was very mean back then to Cleveland and anyone associated with Cleveland.
But Cleveland and you don't mesh. You're giving off right now in gear Daytona Beach.
Why? This is something someone from Daytona Beach wears?
Big Heat fans up there.
I'm just saying in general,
Dan, this is what you wore for like 20 years on TV, a flat brim hat and a sports shirt.
Not backwards, though.
I would never go backward.
Well, no, never backwards.
I would never do it backward.
Because it's my look. It's not your look. It's my look.
Billy, what have we kept you for saying for 20 years? Because
nothing. I just talk, and Pat Riley can say that he'd accomplished nothing, and then if I say it, all of a sudden I'm a pariah, and who hurt you? And it's like I'm literally just repeating what The Godfather said, and all of a sudden I'm out of line. I don't understand it.
Billy has felt not the ability to speak freely
well, it's because
about
the media
Pat Riley.
No, it's not Pat Riley. It's that we talked about it. There's talking points in the media, right? And the media just gives everybody all these talking points, and then the fan base just believes all the talking points that the media is fed by the machine over there across the street. And then if you dare say anything against, the talking points, you're out of line. And who hurt you? And it's like, I'm just telling you, they didn't win the championship. Oh, how dare you? We played in the last game of the year.
Is that what I sounded like when I said it? No, that's what I sounded like.
I'm not saying you. I would never say you.
Because those were the words that came out of my mouth.
No, you sounded like this. Awesome.
down.
Just waiting for the right show.
People are watching women's sports. With sports writer Kate Fagan.
Dan, where to start here? I mean, I will surprise some people by saying that I went into the game rooting for LSU. Maybe Moki on the side, but falling in love with the joy with which this LSU team played. I mean, it was just unbridled enthusiasm that they were caught in this moment. Even Carson, 21 points in the first half, banking in that 3 at the end. I was texting Jess throughout the game. I was actually kind of teary-eyed at the way that they were just living inside that moment. You don't see that often. There's a lot of other places we can go, though, about like why I was rooting for LSU and
but teary-eyed. Teary-eyed,
seriously, because you just like the more we do off the looking glass, the more I pay attention to the history of the game. There has been this disconnect and between like we tell this story on off the looking glass about Cheryl Miller playing for Pat Summitt in 1984, and Pat Summitt really struggling with Cheryl Miller in the opening days of that relationship because Cheryl Miller played with the similar unbridled enthusiasm, doing cartwheels after beating Pat Summitt's Tennessee team when she was playing for Southern California, and Pat Summitt taking objection to that because she was that kind of farm girl from Tennessee who had the stoicism. And then you fast forward, whatever we are, 40 years to this final, and you're seeing a similar thing play out. You have an LSU team that is playing with this kind of black joy, and then you have an Iowa team. Not that they don't have joy, but they kind of carry themselves in a different way. And if you're paying attention to this whole season and then this NCAA tournament, you had a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, people in my life who had never texted me about women's basketball before saying, I'm obsessed with Iowa and Caitlin Clark. And, there's a small part of that where you're like, well, okay, you're feeling very safe and comfortable rooting for what is essentially like an all-white 5 starting lineup. And that is a thing that has played out in the history of not just women's basketball, of course, but you saw it on full display. And so I was getting teary-eyed because I just loved the way those LSU players, like that moment wasn't in that first half. It didn't feel like it was like about Carson. It was just like she was like, oh my God, what is happening to me? I'm just like being blessed with this beautiful moment. And I just really loved that.
When you say teary-eyed, though, as a former athlete, is it because you knew what those ladies were experiencing, connected like that, and getting to experience the best things that sports offers?
Yeah, because you rarely play for a team where you really feel like everyone wants everyone else to succeed. And when you see that being played out, when you see Angel Reese get 2 fouls in the first half, and obviously Iowa had its own foul trouble, so this wasn't limited to LSU, but their best player relegated to the bench in the biggest game of her career, and yet her jumping for joy and essentially almost tackling teammates who hadn't played much. I mean, Carson, I think, what was the stat, Jess? She had scored 11 points in the first 5 games of the NCAA tournament. You just know what it feels like to have when teammates are just, it's for a second, it is not about them. It is about whatever moment you're in. And it is rare as an athlete that you feel what Carson felt, which was, I mean, she does a heat check in the final seconds of the first half and banks in a 3. I mean, she didn't miss a shot in the first half. And that is, you don't get that very often in sports. You don't feel it, you don't live it. And I just love when people actually have joy inside those moments instead of pretending.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I am delighted to see this face again so soon. I hope that she comes around all the time. Elle Duncan, someone at ESPN that Zaslow is not feuding with and has never said anything bad about. I wanted to talk to her because I've been negligent in this first hour of, like, this was a bit of a devastating injury last night. I mean, not a bit of, like, when everyone's watching the sport and the best player in it, Juju Watkins, goes down with a knee injury and gets carried off the court, March Madness becomes like, how am I supposed to talk about and feel about all that? That just stinks. That's just a body breaking down, and I wanted to watch her win everything because I know she can. So anyways, Elle, thank you for being on with us. And Yeah, the heartbreak in that. How did that go down last night?
Well, it was really brutal. Probably TMI, but I was in the bathroom and, I'm still wearing my IFB. We do have to take pee breaks. And I had my IFB in and I thought I lost the broadcast because it was silent. And I was like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden I started getting text messages. I'm like trying to furiously wash my hands. My producer's like, get back to the studio. Juju just went down. It's bad. It looks really bad. And I was like, what? And so I run into the studio and you guys, the studio, which is normally, especially with Shanae and Andrea, is so joyful, so loud, like we're yelling, we're reacting. It matched the silence of the Galen Center. It was like everyone was just sort of in a little bit disbelief. From what we do, from a professional level, it's devastating because it's Juju Watkins, because we wanted this Elite Eight rematch with UConn, because to your point, like she's going to be the National Player of the Year and they're ahead of schedule. On a personal level, it's devastating because of everything that Juju's given to the game, how hard she's worked, choosing to go to a USC program that a lot of people scratch their head, like, why? They haven't been relevant since Lisa Leslie. And she strapped her city on her back. Like, she made LA a basketball town again. And she just to see that happen in the way that it happened, to see someone who is so famously unemotional, like she puts up a 30-piece, no emotion, like no, to see her screaming in pain and writhing on the ground, it was horrific and devastating, and it absolutely changed the entire tenor of the tournament. It did.
Okay, so you're offering a lot of context there that I want to follow up on because of how this story hurts. The connection specifically to USC. Walk us through the history of all of that, culturally, generationally, what that program means to those people and what it means to have this player, this hope go down like that.
Yeah, I mean, she has she has a giant mural in the city of LA. When she chose USC, she actually, on her signing day or her announcement day, whatever you call it, she actually came on SportsCenter and talked to me. And I've, in a very soft way, kind of asked her that same thing that I just said, which is like, okay, I mean, I get it. You're from LA, but like, you're the #1 prospect in the country. Everyone wanted you. Why not go team up with UConn? Why not go to South Carolina? And she was so adamant that her entire goal was to, in her own backyard, make basketball relevant again, to make that USC program a powerhouse like it was in the early 90s before she was born. Like she wasn't born when Lisa Leslie was doing what she was doing at USC. And when we talked with Lindsay Gottlieb last year at the Final Four after they lost to UConn in the Elite Eight, I was like, I know that you knew Juju was a prize, but did you know that she would get your program here this quickly? And she was like, no, I didn't know it would happen so fast. Like she thought it would take some time and maybe some transfers that would get them there. And she has made, like, I've talked to LA friends who are like, LA is buzzing with basketball at a college level, right? You're always gonna have the Lakers and sometimes the Clippers, but at a college level, like with UCLA being a powerhouse again, and with USC and Juju, she's the face of basketball. And she has strapped that city on her back, and they love her so much for everything that she's done. I mean, USC has become, the place to go watch games. We see every super megastar. We just saw Jaden Daniels there. It's just incredibly disappointed to see it go down like this. You lose on the court, you get out battled, fine. But like to see their chances suffer greatly because of what happened is just, it sucks. I can't come up with a better way to.
I believe that's a good way to clip that there. It just sucks. I can't come up with a better way to say that. And then she cuts out. But that's a good way to describe it. We could use a lot of words, but those two work.
Yeah, Elle, you talked about USC's chances. I want to get to that in a second because they are still a 1 seed, and Kiki Iriafen obviously is one of the best post players in the country, and she had a really great game after Juju went out last night. But this is unfortunately such a common thing in women's sports to see knee injuries. It's happened to other great players right before the tournament. Liz Kitley comes to mind, Olivia Miles obviously, and it really impacted both of those teams' chances of winning a national title. What do you think will happen next? I mean, there's obviously a tough matchup in the Sweet 16 round for USC now against a really good Kansas State team that just got some of their players back from health stuff. So do you still see them making a deep tournament run?
So I do think they can beat K-State. We talked about this yesterday. like, what does this USC team look like without Juju? Because they haven't had to experience that. She averages 35 minutes a game. So they basically play 5 minutes a game without her. And so I do think it's going to force, I mean, listen, it's still USC. Like, they still have Talia Van Oelhoffen, who transferred there, Kiki Iriafen, who you mentioned had a career high. And I do think that there was definitely a galvanizing sort of moment for them yesterday. And having her back, we heard Lindsay Gottlieb talk about that. But ultimately, like, to be honest with you, Jess, like, I didn't think that USC was going to get past UConn with Juju, just because, like, if you've watched UConn play the last 2 games, like, I'm not sure anybody's going to beat UConn if they keep playing that way. But I do see them getting to an Elite Eight. It just obviously changes the entire scope of that matchup if Juju's not in it. They're going to have to lean on everybody else, but she's going to be National Player of the Year for a reason. And we saw what happened for UConn when Paige was out. I do think really quickly too, though, like, life sometimes is really interesting. The ironic symmetry of, on a day that Paige Beckers played her last game in Stores and tied a career high after what she's been through and her devastating injuries too, that we then see the same exact thing happen to Juju. Like, it just, I hope that is in some way inspiration for Juju, that you can suffer these really great setbacks, but then you can come back better than ever. I mean, Paige hasn't missed a beat, and she's going to be the number 1 overall pick, but it's, you know, I don't see them making it past UConn either way, honestly.
I was about to say the same thing, actually. Going from Paige giving the interview in Stores, and then Gino talking about Paige's legacy, and then it happened like 5 minutes into the next game. And it was the last game of the second round. It was really kind of strange to see. So, I mean, obviously it's still early. We don't exactly know the nature of the injury, but, like, you would say we probably will see Juju Watkins back 2026, 2027 season?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it really just depends, right? Like, for Paige Beckers, when she tore the meniscus in her knee, it was in the summer. And so she did miss that entire season because of it. I don't know how USC is going to play it. You know, if there is any blessing, it's that it happened in early March and maybe not in the summer as they were doing their off-season training. I don't know if you say, let's medical redshirt her, right? Like, she's only 19 years old. She's not eligible to go to the WNBA draft until she's 22 years old anyway. So I don't know. You certainly don't want to cause any long-term damage for someone who we believe is going to be one of the greatest players of all time if she projects the way that she is now. But yes, I would say the getting used to a life potentially without Juju next season would be a fair assessment.
I'm wondering, and I don't know if this is overly simplistic, but or reactionary because of whatever the emotion of the moment is. But what level of unsatisfying is this going forward, or what needs to happen in terms of storylines to take the pall off of what had felt like a giant celebration and a coronation at a time where we know more of the women players than we do the men in college basketball?
It's true. I tried to say this to someone last night. I was like, imagine if on the men's side, if they lost Cooper Flagg in the same way, right? Like, it would change the enthusiasm for the tournament in some way. The good news for us is that while Juju is one of the faces of women's basketball and will be National Player of the Year, we do still have really great storylines. We have Notre Dame, who has the best backcourt in the country, finally sort of figuring it out and rounding into form. We have TCU. Haley Van List's story is amazing. TCU's story is amazing. I know they're not like a major open. They couldn't even field a roster. They were horrible. And now they're headed to their first Sweet 16. And people made fun of Haley for choosing TCU. Like, wow, that's great. What a basketball powerhouse. And to see her story, like, that's still a story. We still have South Carolina, right? Like, trying to go to be back-to-back champs for the first time since UConn did it. And then we still have UCLA, like, who is a huge program. Again, sort of a return to prominence, a return to glory, if you will, looking for their first Final Four. So if there is any blessing, it's that this happened last night. It gives us a few days to compartmentalize and process. And then we sort of get to look ahead to the Sweet 16, which is still rife with storylines. Yes, like, did I want an Elite Eight that was going to put up enormous numbers personally as someone that, like, benefits from that at ESPN? Yes, but we do still have a lot of meat on that bone.
I would like to, Elle, because I remember when soon after we met, you had mentioned that you had that you loved my brother's artwork and that you loved what I did with my father, and we did see or no on Highly Questionable, and I'm just wondering if I can get you to play with us the game in honor of see or no, Elle yes or Elle no.
Hell yeah.
Okay, you're gonna. Okay, so
You
Elle,
know,
no,
you know
didn't-
I'll
you-
pun my name,
wait,
Dan.
but
You know I love to pun my name.
Yeah, but you didn't even play it right off the top. If I said Elle yes or Elle no, you can't say hell yeah. It's got to be Elle
right.
yes. Like that's.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
There it is.
All right, Elle yes or Elle no. Ripped jeans.
Ooh, I actually do like ripped jeans. I'm into them. Like my kids have ripped jeans. I think they look cool.
So how do you play the game?
L yes to
Hell
the
yes.
yellow pants that Elle was wearing the other day that I texted her about. Elle, those were phenomenal pants.
Thank you. They're
Not
very
ripped
bright.
jeans, but I
Yeah.
love them.
You guys aren't playing the game correctly.
I just said L yes to her yellow pants.
Hello, yes.
L yes or L
Oh
no
my
to
God.
women empowerment.
Hell yes. I feel like
Good.
that's a no-brainer.
Okay, excellent work playing the game
But
incorrectly.
L no to Billy.
It's got to be right on the line. It can't mean L yes to, or L no to racism. Like what? I mean, what are you doing?
Dan, L no.
Come on, Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Although lately in this country, I don't know. Kind of up for debate.
Not putting your cart back in the cart corral at the grocery store. L yes or L no?
Hell no. It requires no work. It's so rude. Like you're potentially damaging people's cars. Just you've been walking around a grocery store. What is it? I live in Connecticut. It's freezing. It's like 3 degrees and I will still take it to the thing or I'll take it to the front. Like that's so rude and not considerate for everybody else.
Irish goodbye. L yes or L no?
Hell yes. Come on. Like I've reached the age where I'm like, do I need to say bye to everyone in the room and make it a whole production? And no, I'm just going to ghost you.
Bringing a Bluetooth speaker to the gym and playing your music out loud. L yes or L no?
Okay, as someone that literally carries my little JBL speaker everywhere she goes and forces people to listen to my music, I'm still a hard L no because people need different things when they work out and it's not necessarily your trap music.
Signing your emails, cheers. L yes or L no?
L no. Although the email sign off gives me a lot of anxiety. I never, sincerely or appreciate you, or I just kind of do a thanks. But L no to the cheers.
Sending your food back at a restaurant, L yes or L no?
L no. I've worked at too many restaurants. I know what they can do to the food in the back. And also, like, apart from having an allergy to it, I went out to eat with a girl one time who sent her burger back because it came with lettuce on it. Take it off and keep it moving. Like, L no.
Buying a woman a drink that she didn't ask for, L yes or L no?
L no. And ladies, don't ever take that drink because you don't know what's in it. No.
Dan Hurley.
As someone that needs people to wild out for my job, L yes to Dan Hurley and all of the many personalities he has.
Oh, I trapped you. I think I trapped you.
L yes or L no to LSU upsetting NC State.
Ooh.
Tricked her.
I'll say L yes. I'll say that's tough. I'll say L yes just because they have the experience of being there before. So does NC State, obviously. But I put their big three probably above NC State's.
L yes or L no, Jimmy Butler sticks it to the Heat tonight.
Ooh, L yes. Yeah, L yes. I think he's going to have his Haley Van Lith game, where he's just like, you didn't want me. I see it.
L yes or L no to traveling with your own bar of soap in a container?
Yeah, L no. Again, unless you have like some kind of severe and sensitive skin thing. When you put the soap in the container, after it gets wet, it becomes a disgusting petri dish of smush, and
L.
it's just... What? Just use the use the soap at the hotel. They're fine. Like it's fine.
L, I want my soap. All right, I like my brand of soap. I don't want to rely on the hotel that I get set up in Norman, Oklahoma, or in Athens, Georgia. I want my soap. I bring a soap dish.
What's your soap? Like, what's your
The
soap?
one
Like,
my
I
wife
personally-
buys for me.
Okay. Well, unless it's some kind of fancy soap, it's not any better than the crap they have at the hotel. Guaranteed.
The reason I said I trapped you is because you love the content of Hurley, and so I'll leave you with this.
Okay.
L yes or L no, Mulkey. Gotcha.
You completely trapped me. I'll say same thing. I like all of the histrionics, and she's so memeable, and she's unapologetically herself. So I guess L yes to all of.
You're gonna separate it. You're gonna separate her personality and her.
See her at the Final Four, Dan.
It's so
I won't have
hard.
to see Dan Hurley. So yeah, L yes, I love it.
Okay, no, I did something unfair to her, but I'm actually curious how she navigates the labyrinth in these political times as someone who has strong opinions.
She doesn't navigate.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, but the Mulkey thing is hard because you can respect her and also be wildly put off by a lot of other things she does.
Yeah, I would say that yes, there is. I have a great respect for her as a coach and also as a former player, and she gets the best out of her girls. And I never played for her. If you were to believe a lot of the things that came out, that's problematic. But ultimately, I don't know her personally. I do think that she's a historic type of figure in this sport. So, and I love LSU. I love her girls. So it's also hard for me because I think, they love her and I love them. So by proxy, yeah, sure. Yeah. But you do, you have to compartmentalize, and that can be, I don't know her well enough to make a snap judgment on her, but just based on some of the things, yeah, that feels, I had someone say that to me the other day. They were like, you picked Florida to win. I was like, yeah, because I don't know anything about men's basketball. I don't really watch. And they were like, oh, their coach. I was like, what about their coach? And they're like, yeah, there's some headlines. So I Googled and I was like, should I have chose them? But ultimately I think they're a really good team. So that's kind of the journey.
L yes or L no, the dap that Mulkey gave that guy that one time coming out of the huddle.
The dap, is that you talking about the clipboard or the real dap?
No, I'm talking about the real dap where she's walking out of the tunnel and there was a guy there and she daps him up very nicely. L yes or L no?
Yeah. I mean, I'm into that. I really appreciate.
No, he ruined the game. She
hasn't seen the dap.
I know.
It tells me she hasn't seen the dap.
I know, but
I haven't.
I know, but
was it an aggressive dap?
It's a
I have not
classic
seen
dap.
it.
No, we need the video team to pull it up so you can see.
Okay, but that would have been
It's
good
an
to
A1
have,
dap.
right?
But Dan, she covers the league.
Elle, have you seen Tony's
I mean,
jumper?
I don't consume everything that happens in the league. I do have 3 other jobs at ESPN.
I pull up
I'm
something
sorry,
that's classic
Elle,
from Kim Mulkey, and all of a sudden nobody knows about
Tone,
it.
don't get defensive here, Tone.
It's crazy.
Tone, I need you to go to the penalty box and just sit
How
there for
about
a
L
while.
no for Tony? He's on my shit
like
list
Tony,
this week.
Jesus, go ahead.
Have you seen it, Dan?
Tone.
Are you saying tone or tone like Tony?
Good question.
I can't honestly. I wasn't
He's
sure.
doing that thing. I feel like Jess can feel me on this. He's doing that thing when a dude at the bar finds out you do sports for a living, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, who won the 1937 home run derby?"
No, Tony would
Don't
never
know.
do that.
No,
Baby.
ever.
And then you don't know.
He said
You
L
don't
no to
know,
women's
they're like-
empowerment earlier.
He did.
God, man.
And he hates my dog all of a sudden. I don't know why.
It's-
He's on my shit list.
Found
I don't
out
have
it's a
time
girl,
for him
right?
this week.
It's he just threw L was on fire there. We were soaring into the sky. And Tony decided at the very end to throw the ball off her face. Hey, L, try and pretend that you've seen this thing I'm talking about. L, I'm sorry it ended that way. I will try to raise better broadcast professionals.
Okay, we definitely ended on a high note. Can you just give me one more for shits and giggles so that we can end on a high note?
Because he ruined it so
Okay, L yes or L no. Me bringing my dog to work that everyone loves.
Oh.
Hell yes. So long as it's not you don't work at a grocery store, right?
You're right. This is not a grocery store.
Then we're good.
Although someone should tell Gino and Jason that.
Elle, good seeing you. Thank you for being on with us. Always delightful.
Always. Please have me back. Love you guys. You're the best.
Thank you. let's get to our sound
I feel really bad for doing that.
tournament. Why?
I normally don't pick on Jason and Gino. I just I feel bad.
And everybody out there laughing, man.
I can hear the laughter through the walls, and you feel like you've bullied them, and I can hear people laugh. I can hear people.
I mean, it was a funny joke.
That's all it needs to
If
be.
you listen to Mystery Crate, you know.
What happened with Tony?
Yeah, Billy, I saw that you enjoyed that. You really roared to life there like I haven't seen since back when you were prohibited from saying things that Zaslow doesn't want to hear.
I was just trying to get, honestly, us to show Elle a video of Tony's jumper, but I unsuccessfully did that.
I know. Thank you for the help there, but you enjoyed that Tony made that drown. You came to life. Like when Tony threw that anchor on the proceedings, my God, I haven't seen such life in you in years.
I feel like he was about to hit us with a real Hooper's no, but we didn't get there quick enough.
Billy loves nothing more than to
my family.
Now, I believe that what you love more than your family is seeing Tony fall on his face.
Oh, here he comes.
Fall
on my face because something that everybody's seen on social media. The 6 people here haven't seen it. Okay, sorry.
I saw it.
So then why did everybody look at me so stupefied? Oh my God, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's the kind of thing if you're going to bring up, you have to kind of be sure that the guest knows exactly what you're talking about.
If you've seen it, you're online. If you've seen it, you're online. If everybody's seen it who's online, I figure the guest who covers the sport, who's also online and sees things about the sport, has seen it before.
She probably saw it and forgot about it because it wasn't like that big of a deal.
If I tell you Kim Mulkey Depp, you know what I'm talking about?
I remember the video.
Okay, thank you.
But that doesn't mean that someone that covers the sport for a living, it's probably the 5,000th thing she'd think of when she thinks of Kim Mulkey.
You cover the
Yeah,
sport.
You're
but
right.
I'm a
Elle Duggan
sick
is so dumb.
person that's online a lot.
Like, I don't cover the sport. I remember that.
Whether
video.
you know the DAP video or not doesn't mean like you're good at covering the sport. It's just like maybe it wasn't memorable to her.
Not what I said. Not what I said. My point is
you implied it.
felt that way. That's what are you talking?
You were
about?
like, she covers the sport.
Yeah, because she covers sports. She knows what it is. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I feel like we can move on.
I didn't say Zaslow, what other weird things do you do?
Yeah, I mean, how about I thought Elle was going to back me on that one. As someone who travels a lot, you want your own stuff. I mean, look at this. This is sensitive skin. I want my own soap. You know?
This is what happens when you shit on my dog.
How do you feel about body wash when you go to a hotel? I mean, you have your own soap, but like, let's say something happens, heaven forbid, you forget your bar of soap or whatever, and it's one of those body wash pumps that's in the corner, like affixed to the wall. That's another thing that's happening now. Before you walk in and you have your own little shampoo bottle, your own little conditioner bottle, your own little bar of soap, and you say to yourself, I'm probably never going to use these again, but they're just going to toss them out. Let me just take these home in case of a rainy day. I run out of shampoo, conditioner, whatever. I have the little bottles from the hotel. Now they attach them to the wall. You can't even take them home. They're like industrial size.
Right. Yeah, well, but I bring my own soap. So
but if something were to happen, heaven forbid, something were to happen, or your soap gets lost or whatever, would you use the body wash? You're not a body wash man.
As opposed to not using any kind of soap.
Well,
or
you
wash?
could go just buy another bar of soap, I suppose.
Nah, I'd use what they supply me.
Okay.
Maybe you're right.
Didn't know if you're strictly a bar man or if you're a body wash man.
I don't like how defensive Tony was.
I don't either. Now I feel weird.
Okay.
So here's the thing, okay? See, Tony's not wrong here, and I know why he feels alone, okay?
Because nobody helped me? Oh, yeah, of course.
Tone?
You're making it better.
Thank you.
Tone.
I'm doing that on purpose, yes.
Fine.
You don't know whether it's my tone or his tone.
No, I know when he says tone, I know it's me. I know I need to stop talking.
No, it's not just that, okay? Because we're going to reach into the underbelly of what's been happening around here between you and Billy.
I have nothing to do with what's going on today. I'm just sitting here talking to Zaz about soap.
So, the delight...
I'm a Dove guy.
Really?
Scent free. I'm actually allergic to a fragrance called linalool.
Really?
Yeah, I found this out last summer. I did one of those patch tests on my back.
And?
It's in every product.
Oh,
I have to go scent free on like every soap and shampoo and conditioner. Couldn't find a purple shampoo without fragrance in it.
Your life seems difficult. You can't eat anything. You can't use certain soaps. You're a woman.
No, Dan's the one that can't eat anything.
I'm a Dove gal the way you're
I
a
am
Dove
just
guy.
scent free and I can't have wheat, barley, or rye.
Yeah.
Tony, this is the part that I found funny about everything that happened there, and that was wonderful. It truly wonderful, including you being enraged by the fact that you're mentioning something that should be obvious to all of the people in this room, but you got no help and were left by teammates to feel like you were drowning by our ignorance when you're mentioning something that 1 million people in our audience would have seized on and will now support you because they'd be enraged on your behalf that none of us went and grabbed your alley-oop.
Correct. And I feel it's because it was Kim Mulkey. If it was somebody else, all of a sudden everybody would have jumped in and joined me. But it was Kim Mulkey doing something. Everybody's like,
wait. Are we making this because Kim Mulkey is Kim Mulkey?
Ooh, who spoke first here? I don't know. Jeremy came out of nowhere, left field. Didn't say shit.
Well, left field is right. You're seriously, you're going to make this political right now?
Hey, you're making it political, buddy. I don't know.
You just did it. None of us did it. We were having a good time laughing at you, and then you made it political. I mean, whatever, man. It's fine. But, like, it's just a video. It's okay. We were all laughing.
How do you feel about Zaz, the like shampoo conditioner combo bottle? Because like it can't be both.
No, this head right here needs special treatment.
Yeah,
rocking any combos.
Wait, aren't you bald?
Whoa!
Yeah, I can grow hair. I shave on. It's my preference.
I'm
shave
asking.
my head.
I don't know. I've never seen your head before.
I have hair. I shave it. It's not like I can't grow any hair. I shave it.
The hypothetical I threw out there earlier was
so
if you
insulting.
could be...
Emotions are high. This Jimmy Butler shit is making everybody crazy.
Dare you?
If you could be Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan, who would you be? Was a hypothetical earlier.
Jesus
and I was
Christ.
looked at like I had two heads. Like it was the dumbest question in the world.
Okay, so this is coming back now. You guys are just allowing everything to spill into the show today.
I'm trying to move us along.
No, you're okay. No, I don't want to move along. Now we're stuck here. Okay, we're gonna stay here for a minute.
Did you finish what you wanted to tell me, by the way, or no?
No, Tony.
Okay.
I want to.
Oh boy.
You wanted to say something. I didn't know.
Tony,
what it was.
Tony, I would like for you to tell us what you think here.
Trap. Don't do it.
Because you believe, I didn't see this from your vantage point. You believe that was Mulkey triggered. I believe that everyone in the room is ignorant to the meme that you're talking about, and it makes us, all of us, you must have felt alone with something that is fairly common knowledge.
Absolutely. It's very common knowledge. You see it come across your timeline, whether it be on Instagram, on Reels, on TikTok, on whatever. It's Kim Mulkey. Having an incredible no-look dap with a dude as she's walking into the tunnel waiting to go to a game, and it's an incredible dap by anybody's measure. There's a lot of people in this office that don't give good daps, and Kim Mulkey gave a sideways. Right here, Billy. I'm gonna do it.
I mean you're setting me up. I know I'm not gonna do a good job here.
Okay, anyway,
you're just
she does
setting
an
this
incredible
up so the
dap and then keeps
cyclone
it
makes
moving.
fun of me.
Well, Dan.
No. Just slow everything down here for a second.
But we have a new game to play.
I don't want to play that game right now.
What?
I don't want. I don't
Marlin
want.
or Panther.
Okay.
Are you ready, Dan?
I don't think so. He just left.
But he's the contestant.
Oh, well, we're in trouble then.
Do you think you would be good at this game?
I do. I am good at this game.
Well, then let's have fun.
Then we should wait for Dan. We can do a next segment.
Well, he left, so we're here now.
What do you guys want to talk about?
I don't know.
Is it really
Cronin.
that obvious that Michael Jordan is the answer? People were looking at me like I was crazy.
People are going off the A, net worth, B, greatest of all time, C, Air Jordan, Nike, like coolest shoes ever.
I think a lot of
Those
people
are-
were going into the HIV. If I'm
Four,
honest with you.
Space Jam. Well, I think that's a reason to not be Michael or Magic Johnson, but there's so many reasons why you'd want to be Michael Jordan. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but Magic Johnson, to me, looks a lot happier than Michael Jordan.
I agree with you.
He seems to be enjoying life a lot more.
Yeah,
than
Michael Jordan had twins like a few years ago.
Oh, no.
What an idiot.
Yeah, I'm with you. Magic Johnson had his kids, and they're all grown now, so now he's living the life. Oh, Zaslow, that's the dream, right?
He's got AIDS.
Love kids. Happiest moments of your life. Can't wait for them to get out of the house. You can go back to enjoying life.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm a few years away.
Really?
I'm almost at the dream.
How close are
to
you?
leave the house.
I'm almost there.
How close are you?
From both of them being gone, I am 5 years away.
Okay, and what's the tactic? Do you try to tell them you really should go away. Like, you really got to, if you want to experience life, you should go away to college. That's how you'll find yourself. That's how you'll figure it out. Is that what you're doing? Or are you just like annoying them a little bit more to drive them away?
No, they're going to be ready to go when
Okay,
the time
good.
is right.
All
yeah.
right.
And then it's all about me and my wife in the Zaslow mansion, just
Wow.
doing what we want.
When did
to
it
do.
change from mansion to manor?
When do you change it?
Yeah.
I've always had a mansion.
Oh, because he said Zaslow Manor.
No,
Well,
I make mistakes.
I have never been there
Like
before.
the meerkats.
No,
No.
I have
Second
a
house.
mansion.
Okay. So support, I'm trying to figure out, is the tactic support or is it annoyance of my children to get them out of the house when the day comes?
I think support's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
you
try
want
to
to set them
support
up in the right place, and
Yeah.
then they wind up being ready to leave. You don't want your child to not. You throw them out there. It's not like you open up the car door and say, "Go ahead, you're free."
Yeah,
no,
like
they
the
gotta
dogs.
be ready.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I'm wondering, like, is if I push them too far, then they'll rebel against me, and then maybe that's not the effect that I wanted, you know? It's not like we're leaving empowered, we're leaving out of spite, and now let me do something crazy.
I feel like an important thing here is your kids have to respect you, but you also have to trust them. It's a two-way street, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never had kids. I'm just thinking about my own parents.
My daughters have started calling me by my first name because they think it's hilarious.
Oh, that's respectful.
And I need to really put my foot down on here because they're 3 and 1, and I can lose control very quickly.
Your 1-year-old's like, Billy.
Yeah, my 1-year-old repeat everything that my 3-year-old says. Sometimes they'll say Guillermo to me.
All right, so respect is
cute.
something valued in your house.
They'll say
clearly.
Guillermo Lewis Gill, and I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. This is funny and adorable, but we're getting close to the line here.
So they're treating you like Chris Cody treats his father, basically, right?
Well, not that poorly, no.
Does he call his father Greg?
He
Yes.
does, Greg,
He
all
calls
the time.
his wife
Oh.
Kyle.
Yeah, he does call his wife Kyle. That's not her name.
What do you mean?
It's not her name. Her name's Christy, not Kyle.
So why does he call her that?
He's an idiot. I don't know. It's an inside joke that they have, and then every once in a while he'll just call her on the phone, unbeknownst to her, and he'll just say, "Hey,
Real Crate
Kyle,"
fans
and then
know.
ask like a weird question of her, and then she'll just be kind of annoyed with him.
You don't strike me as the disciplined guy in your house.
Oh, what?
Yeah, what is that?
I'm a disciplinarian. What are you talking about? I run
feel
a
like
tight
you're-
ship.
I feel like you're the kind of dad that's like, don't call me Billy, but like, like.
Well,
you
my
can do
wife
everything.
laughs. That's the thing, is that I'm getting undercut all around. You know, we're supposed to be in a relationship here where we support each other, and she constantly sides with these children.
I'm 0 to 60. I'm very relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to get involved, there's no middle ground. I go right to, if you want me to get involved, I'm going to take care of this. You're not going to like the way I take care of it. It's going to happen fast.
You don't do it half-assed, Zaz.
That's right.
You're
You're a full-ass
0 to
kinda guy.
60.
Yep.
So they go to your wife
I've
first.
never seen that from you before.
Yeah, see,
He has the need
I'm
to
a
bring it
very
out.
relaxed person.
Yeah.
I'm very nonchalant. I'm easy to be around.
Measured.
If you want me to get involved, I'm going to get involved.
Yeah.
It'll be quick.
I was being kind of sarcastic because sometimes you can go from very relaxed person to
No, but it's social
Tool of the Week
settings.
Hall of
So
Fame.
in real life social settings, I'm a relaxed dude. All right. Now, if you want to talk about serious stuff like the Miami Heat or the Florida Panthers, okay, then I'll ratchet things up rather quick. But around the house, the discipline, I'm chilling, or hey, I'm gonna take care of this lickety split.
Yeah. And do you ever get a situation where your children will say, "I'm going to go tell mom"?
No, because they don't do that. They don't play us against each other like that.
what's the origin of lickety split?
I don't know. Look it up. So my daughters, now that I've been saying stuff, they'll come up to me and it's like, "I'm gonna go tell mom," and I say, "Go ahead."
Wow, powerful.
But it's really a dare that means nothing because usually she sides with them over me. So I'm signing my own death sentence by doing that.
Okay, so I was right.
What?
Was I not?
In what sense?
You're not the one doing like the hard discipline of your daughters.
I try, but I'm constantly undercut. So at a certain point, I'm like, what's the point? Why am I going to be the bad guy? I want to be the good guy. I want to be the favorite. So I will let them get away with certain things that maybe their mother
Like what?
will not.
Calling you Billy? What else do they do? They seem like good girls.
Well, we put on a good front. They're really terrors behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
My house is in shambles.
Not eating their vegetables.
Apple doesn't fall far.
Well, sometimes they discover drawing on walls, which is not good. Not great at
A little
all.
decorating,
Well,
not the worst.
Well, this one of the bunch is maybe the rotten apple because she's defiant. She'll draw on the wall, and then you say no, and she laughs, and you clean it up, and then you turn around, and in the exact same spot, there's more artwork.
Use the Sharpie?
Tried it. One of them used, the older one, eldest daughter, used a Sharpie the first time around. The other one so far has used pencil and things that we can get rid of with a magic eraser, so it's been fine. Used chalk one time, sidewalk chalk. I don't know why kids love chalk so much.
My sister used to eat chalk.
Chalk can't be good for you.
No.
There's something in there that can't be good for you, chalk. I don't understand how it works. Can't be good. What?
It's calcium.
What does that mean?
It's made of calcium, chalk.
So you can eat it?
I mean, technically, yes.
I don't think so. You let your daughter eat chalk?
No.
Okay.
We have actual food in the house. I wouldn't do that.
But what if she's low on calcium?
Yeah, exactly right. What if the doctor says like she has a calcium deficiency? You go and you
Then
say,
I would get her Tums.
Pick up some chalk.
well, you could buy Tums, or you can buy like chalk for 15 of them for 99 cents. You break off a little piece, you make it roughly the same size as the pill. There you go.
Yeah, but the Tums are flavored.
Down the hatch.
That's true. The Tums flavors, they've really innovated.
Let me tell you
with
something.
those.
And Zaza will back me up on this. Kids are dumb. Okay? You give a kid a pink chalk and you say
I
that's
also
flavored
agree
like
with
strawberry, they'll say, I like that. You give them one, you say this one's tastes like asparagus, a green one, they're like, ew, yuck. And it's like, dummies, it's chalk. It's not flavored. What are you talking about? Take your calcium tablets.
That's why they go to school, Billy.
Well,
that's a good point, Roy.
Thank you, Jess.
Can I show you guys the video just in case?
I've
never
seen it.
I actually
I've
really
never
would love
seen
to
it.
see it.
Let's pull up the
Honestly,
video.
in Tony's defense, he was failed on this front because had we seen the video, maybe this would have made sense.
Right.
Yeah, but I was banking on.
I wanna see it.
people
I've
that
never
Could have
seen
given
the
a
video.
heads up that the video would come up, though. That's a fair.
All right. Well, here's the
criticism.
video for the people watching.
Jeremy
really
doesn't
wanna
want
see
to
it.
watch it because it's Kim Mulkey.
Oh,
That's
you're
it.
right.
That's
Yeah,
fine. Just put it on the
that's true.
screen. So again, she's walking out. Boom. Crazy dap. Not even looking.
Yeah.
And in slow motion.
And it's slow motion.
we should
but
probably
it's-
censor this.
It's a perfect dap.
Yeah, see, DAP always confuses me because you don't know what the extent of the DAP is going to be. And that looks like that was a DAP in 3 parts.
Yeah.
And she nailed it.
All
How
3.
does she, forget the not looking, how does she know that, okay, this could be like a 3-part DAP kind of deal? That's why I get confused with DAP. I never know how long the DAP is going to last.
How impressive
David
is that dap,
Sampson
Jess?
can teach you because he famously was very good at it when we asked him to do it. No. He was really bad at it.
Real Hoopers know.
He's got AIDS.
Explain to me the reasons, whether it's the men's game one and done, portal, no stars, no familiarity with a college man's team of people who are there for 4 years winning, so you get to know them. Explain to me why it is that the women's game was doing bigger numbers ratings-wise by leaps and bounds than NBA games. Never mind the men's college game than NBA games.
It felt, well, one, we already touched on it. I mean, is it helpful that you have this like easy entry point in Caitlin Clark? Yeah. I mean, that's probably accounting for a lot of people walking in the door and being like, oh, okay, I see this Iowa team. I can relate to them. That's a huge piece of it. But some of it is like the most simple thing possible, which is ESPN put the games on TV. And then not only that, but they actually put storytelling around the game. I mean, I don't know how many times we've, throughout the history of the women's game, been like, I use the metaphor, and I've heard somebody else use this, of like, when you're running on a treadmill, you want to warm up and then you get into it and then it cools down. And women's college basketball has always been like, you got to hit the treadmill running full speed because there's no pregame, there's no postgame. The second the buzzer goes off, they have you off to, like
the XFL.
I don't want to trash. Thank you very much, Jess. I'm like thinking of what sport I can name.
Literally, the XFL earlier this season, they went straight from a ACC tournament game, I think, straight into XFL with no recap, nothing.
I mean, so it's a building of momentum in my mind from the pandemic when ESPN had no choice but to put more college basketball games on its main ESPN, and then also the WNBA having to go from like, we'll put 17 games on and most of them on 2 or to, oh my God, we're going to put most of them on ESPN because there's not a lot of sports. I mean, we all remember our ESPN days. Dan, I forget what channel y'all were on, but when I was filling in for people on ESPN, they would make sure they weren't there.
Oh, she froze on us, Stugotz.
Different than it was on ESPN. So imagine all of your games always living on 2 or U or news. And people saying, well, they're on TV. It's not the same thing. And so once these games got on the main channel, let alone ABC, a lot of people started to understand the storylines, and that's all they needed.
Kate, I think the real story is just how far the on-court product has come because the game is so entertaining to watch, but everyone is talking about Angel Reese's celebration and the reaction to it. So what were your thoughts on all of that?
Well, the first part of it, I do agree with you on that. I mean, like all sports, the product has evolved and gotten better and better and better. And now you can turn on most teams. I could turn on Indiana playing UConn and truly believe Indiana could win that game. I wouldn't have thought that 10 years ago. Right. I would have been like, I'm watching this because I love women's college basketball, but I am 100% certain UConn is winning this game. So just that little bit of what we need in sports, which is, not knowing the outcome, has helped women's basketball along the way in this last decade. As far as the ridiculous nonsense in the aftermath of that game, which is people's reaction to Angel Reese, I already alluded to it. Like, this is something Black female athletes have been dealing with from like day one when women's college basketball stepped onto the stage, which was playing with a joy and vibrancy that oftentimes is shocking to people from different parts of the country. If you were watching Caitlin Clark this whole year, maybe she didn't hold up a hand and do like the ring gesture, but she did her version of that all year long. And she all throughout this tournament, I mean, even though it looked different and maybe it looked safer to some people, she was doing the exact same thing that Angel Reese was doing. So, and did I love, like Jess and I were talking about this for this week's Off the Looking Glass, like what she did for me right there was set up season 2 of LSU versus Iowa et al. I mean, do I now already have like whatever day it's going to be, October whatever or November whatever, when these teams may play again or start playing again? Absolutely. People's reaction to Angel Reese, just to me, it highlights that they have not been watching women's college basketball, because it is done being your, like, oh, we all have to sing Kumbaya and hold hands, and we all have to like not rock the boat and be your version of a role model. Like, one, when we were being your version of a role model, you didn't watch anyway. You didn't care anyway because you said that's boring, right? Oh, everyone gets along. That's boring. Now people aren't, quote unquote, getting along, and you don't like the way they're not getting along. It's all part of the same thing, which is you said you'd watch when women dunked. Then we started dunking. Then you said, that's not good enough. Then the dunks aren't good enough. I mean, it's just a never-ending string of reasons why to like trash on women's sports. And this is the de jour reason.
Everyone wants a service dog with Steve-O.
We are joined by a very famous persona from America, and also Steve-O, because Wendy from Peru is an internet sensation. Go ahead and tell the story, Steve-O, before we get in here. And always thank you for making time for us. But tell us why it is that your dog is more famous than you are, because I didn't think it was allowed that you can just find a dog on the streets of Peru, fall in love with it, and then just bring it over to America. I thought, didn't Johnny Depp or somebody get in trouble for trying to bring an animal into the country without the proper permission? Like,
well, that was the other way around. He already had the dog and was trying to smuggle it into Australia. I was in Peru for a mountain climbing expedition, and I found Wendy here on the streets. And fortunately, the mountain climbing expedition was a TV show, and the production jumped through all the hoops for me. So I really didn't have to do anything. And I was able to bring Wendy home. And the video I made about finding her, it garnered over 100 million views on Facebook, making it the most viewed video I've ever put on the internet. And it's kind of devastating for an attention whore like me. I've with the lengths that I've gone to, But there it is, man. So Wendy and I, we are on a rock tour as we speak. barreling towards Syracuse for a show tonight, and we've got shows every single night in the Northeast U.S. For the next 12 days. Albany tomorrow night.
This video is adorable. Is Wendy's a service animal?
She is. You bet she is. Yeah, because I have terrible issues.
You should take more dogs, though. I mean, it seems to be working for you.
I have terrible issues is a great sentence that would explain the last 25 years of your life. You've done great sort of capitalizing on, let me take a tour bus through my terrible issues.
Right. That's about right, man. I have terrible issues.
and she brings you genuine comfort when she's not a professional service dog license, and you've got the proper paperwork. Steve-O is now a paperwork man with a legitimate service dog that he needs for comfort.
You know what? I'm gonna break your guys' heart right here. There's no such thing as official certification for a service animal. And because and I did the deepest dive, man. I found the best dog trainer on the planet, and they were the ones who told me, yeah, there's no such thing as official certification. You know, we can sure train her, but that's never. I got a note from my doctor. I got some little weird thing online that means nothing, which says certified service animal. But yeah, there's no such thing. You can ask a blind person with a seeing eye dog, and they'll tell you that there's no such thing.
More to the point.
So we make fun of. Yeah, we travel around and we make fun of service dog vests.
I just figure that you find genuine comfort here, and people might be surprised to learn that one of a man who has been so fearless in his life would admit to needing the love of a dog to temper his issues. That's real adult, grown-up introspection one of the Jackass guys is doing.
All right. I mean, hey, I'm happy to admit that for sure. And the federal law requires that a service animal be trained to assist somebody with a disability. Although the law does not require the person to explain what the disability is. Now, when you ask me what Wendy's trained to do, she is a mobility assist dog. And what that means is she gets me where I'm going because I'm not going anywhere without her.
Nice. That's why you got 100 million views. That's because people love dogs and love the story of you just found a dog in Peru and fell in love.
Well, Steve-O, are you certain there's no one in Peru looking for their dog named Wendy? I mean,
I am. I'm very certain.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, Steve-O.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Stugotz. So you are now touring the country. Tell me about what this portion of your life looks like. Could you have imagined 15 years ago that you'd be on a tour bus, not having to break your spleen doing something?
Well, it's bittersweet. I am on a gorgeous tour bus, and the tour I'm on is called the Bucket List Tour, and what that is sort of spleen breaking stuff. However, I shot it all for the tour ahead of time. It was stuff that I would never be allowed to do for Jackass, like having general anesthesia drugs administered through an IV while I was riding a bicycle. And, I got another medical professional I got another medical professional to put a 4-inch needle into my spine and inject a drug into my spinal cavity to paralyze me from the waist down while I was in a full sprint. I had another one where I had another one where I was butt naked in an airplane and quite literally servicing myself with a guy strapped to my back. And as I fell out of the airplane, I was ejaculating, which I'm pretty proud of.
Oh, geez.
So it's a triple X rated show loaded with flagrantly illegal stuff, and I'm just tickled by it. And it's a multimedia show too. So after each bit, I screen the glorious culmination of the bit.
How hard was it to keep your mind on the task at hand?
Oh, dude, that was the most challenging thing ever, man. It was the tiniest little airplane packed full of dudes, and all I had was a little portable DVD player. It was tough.
I mean, we've never had anyone ask a creepier question in a creepier
the
tone.
way he asked it,
I don't
we
understand.
never needed a follow-up.
The way that you sensually asked him and started a sentence with "How hard was it?"
I thought he was going to stop right there. How hard was it?
That's it. Yeah, how hard was it? Would have been for you to pull the parachute on that question. But you're like, and then you went finish the task in a way that I think you were going for sultry there.
Task at hand. It was close.
Task at hand.
Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty heavy. There are 10 different items on the list, so it's quite a loaded show. And so
are you
that's
guys
what I'm
doing
up
this
to,
at
man.
hand loaded thing? Are you guys doing the word choices on purpose?
What was below you?
15,000 feet of air to the ground.
I guess my question is because that skeet had to land somewhere.
Oh, come on, man. Jesus.
That portable DVD must have gone, but it came in handy. I mean,
Come on. You've got him doing it with porn? You've got him.
He did. That's what he had the DVD for.
Got him flying down with porn.
What'd you watch?
I watched. Man, it was some pretty heavy anal
I'm sorry.
stuff.
No. Let's just keep it moving here. Oh, God. Zaslow and I, lest you say that we are uncultured heathens, recently went to a musical, not together. I don't know why I was so quickly defensive about that.
God forbid.
I'd love to go to a musical with you guys.
You have to understand the reason I said that is because he dressed like this.
Oh.
What's wrong with this?
For a musical?
Was it a Heat musical?
It was a Michael Jackson musical.
Oh, boy.
And
what'd they talk about?
It was a well, to me, you say that, and that's one of the things that I found amazing about the entirety of the experience, because it was simply amazing. But the idea that music and talent that one of a kind, never to be duplicated, would make it so that an auditorium would fill with people because the music was so good, sort of ignoring that probably, pedophilia was likely something that was that he was doing in a way that has been documented in documentary form, even though a lot of people don't believe it.
What do you mean ignoring it? All throughout the show, they were saying, "Can you believe what they're saying about me in the media?" They didn't ignore it.
So they mocked it?
No, but look.
Also, that could mean anything. Like, people were making fun of his appearance. Like, there's a lot of things people were talking about in the media about him.
Kind of sounds like a pro-pedophilia musical you went to.
Okay, that is a way to frame it.
Billy, why do you want to be starting something?
Beat it, Jeremy.
The music is so enduring that somehow, posthumously, he cannot be canceled by allegations that would obviously get anyone else canceled. I don't know. Some of you should look into a Prince documentary that Netflix will not allow to air and that the Prince estate will not allow to air, that would be the greatest of documentaries that I'm guessing posthumously would do things to Prince's reputation that would make it harder to separate the art from the artist than L. Duncan just did with Mulkey and I and Zaslow did at a musical together, but not together.
So how do we do this? I know Pablo's one of the only people on the planet that's seen this masterpiece of a documentary with the guy that made OJ and Made in America. What's
Ezra
his name?
Edelman.
Ezra Edelman.
Don't say what's his name.
No, I didn't remember what his name was.
No, I understand.
Respect for him.
He won an Oscar.
Weird.
Respect.
Okay, win another one. Well,
It's been a while.
Well, he would have with this. Look, man, oh my God, listen to this story, okay? Because this one crushes me, just crushes me for Ezra Edelman, a perfectionist of the highest order who makes only the best things. Guy makes the OJ documentary and it can't even be done again. Netflix tried recently. It's embarrassing. No reason to watch it.
I saw it and I was like, nah.
No, it's been done so well it cannot and will not ever be done again better in a way that masterpieces are. He had so many options right after that. So many options. Anything you want to do. Like Clint Eastwood will take your seconds. You can do anything. But there's the pressure. I got to make something better than that. And he did. Like he made something and we'll never see it. And we'll never see it. No one will ever see it because the Prince estate will be able to protect it. And imagine pouring yourself, because he works dark, man. He works alone, and he is a genius. He is brilliant. He makes the perfect documentary, and his next one was going to be better. He was going to meet impossible expectations and exceed his own, which are impossible, because the Prince documentary was going to be better than the OJ documentary, and no one's ever going to see it. Can you imagine how that would feel to dedicate your life years to one thing?
It's perfect for him because no one can come out and say, wow, this was a flop. Like, this didn't live up to expectations. It's just like, wow, this is even better than the last one, but I can't show you. Just take my word for it. And I'll show my friend Pablo, and he won't say a bad thing about me.
So here's the thing.
He wants to make movies someone watches. He should have made a Marvel movie. Made a ton of money. True. Everyone would have watched his movie. Had all these options. Make a comic book movie, Ezra. That's the move.
How do we get Pablo in a state of, I don't know what, to tell us what's in kind of the cliff notes of the documentary? Like drugging Pablo, but like a nice way. Like truth serum kind of thing.
Well, what, is he not allowed to
Did he
say
sign an
what
NDA?
he saw?
I don't know.
Why can't he describe what he saw?
The Prince estate is very litigious. There are to me, look, man, I'm super curious whether people are noticing, just in general, what's happening with corporate greed and what's happening to the content when documentaries that are alleged a place of truth in a time where you can't trust anything to be the truth. The best documentaries, we know when they're great, and it's when they're societally large and tell you the truth. But they can be distorted and formed into anything with a good filmmaker. And the corporations right now are running scared of everything happening in America, and the way that they can crush someone like Ezra Edelman, who makes great things, is the way a lot of great things are going to get crushed under the weight of trying to tell the truth. It's embarrassing. Like what's happening in the media industry right now and in this particular content industry, because the whole thing is shaking with the same people buying the things they want to make with others, with access to others that might not be the true story that you get on Tiger Woods on Max, even though he doesn't participate, which is hard to make. And now all of us, an athlete who spent his entire life in front of us, he marries and professes his love for Donald Trump Jr.'s ex. And we don't know anything about that dude that resembles the truth because he's been in the machine of marketing for so many years. And even if it had breakdowns, we still don't know what that dude's politics are on anything. One of the best athletes of our time. What do we?
I mean, he was in the White House like a month ago.
Yeah, I think we know.
Accepting like some sort of award from Donald Trump.
But why? Like, you can't get anything from him to explain what it is.
Also, he asked for our privacy in his last post. So.
Am I ignorant in not knowing the scandal surrounding the Prince documentary? Like, we all know the Michael Jackson stuff without actually watching a documentary.
But
like, am I ignorant in not knowing?
Not everyone agrees. There have been very good documentaries. This is another litigious place that's very difficult to tell the truth, which is where it is that some kids can get abused because of how difficult it is to go against these machines. A documentary has been made that I have seen that is extraordinary and that I believe to be the truth about Michael Jackson's accusers. But that auditorium was filled in 2025 with people recreating beautifully.
Packed.
And the degree of difficulty, like there's never been a talent like that. That song, that dance, that creative, like that many hits, that will never exist again.
Pitbull.
20 years after his death is still filling an auditorium with a whole bunch of people who aren't making moral choices there. They just want to hear his music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm watching the show the other night. We're there, and I'm like, it bothers me that there is a young audience, maybe the age of some of you guys there in the shipping container, who may not understand how ridiculous this guy was. And even amidst all of the allegations, yeah, you almost don't know how to feel while I'm sitting in there enjoying it and like really loving this recreation of his music. And then there's the other part, it's like, all right, is it okay that I'm enjoying this much?
Would you say it was a thriller?
Can we play Marlin or Panther?
Ooh.
Nope, I don't want to play that.
Oh, Dan, you'll do so well.
You guys can play it. I look forward. You tell me when you're going to play it, and I would like to watch it from afar and see how you.
Give us like
Coward.
24 minutes. Can you give us 24 minutes?
No,
Weird
let's
of
see.
you?
Well, but you say I'm the coward, but I so
wanna
badly.
stand in the corner and
I'll do it. I'll do it.
He's afraid. He
Off
doesn't
the
know
wall?
his Panthers or his Marlins.
I don't know the Panthers.
Oh,
I know the Marlins.
You're scared. That's why.
I'm no longer paid to know the Panthers.
Dan doesn't know Marlins.
He doesn't know Marlins.
All right, so
Seth Jones.
I don't know the Marlins. I can name a Marlin. I
Who?
think. Sandy.
You know, we haven't been talking about it. Big return day today, obviously, for Jimmy Butler, who's coming town. First game against
Yeah, we
his
haven't
former
talked
team.
about that yet.
We haven't talked about the fact that Jazz Chisholm is also coming back today to face the Marlins.
right.
Spring training game.
So
However,
true.
return game. How do you think that's going to be received? Standing ovation, video package, bigger or smaller story than the Jimmy Butler return? What do we
Dan,
think?
will he be returning to play against AJ Greer or Calvin Focher?
Fauché.
So when they call me a coward, Zaz, didn't it feel to you in the last segment that there was cowardice involved, but it was not mine? It felt like Tony and Jessica and Jeremy and Billy were going to have a good argument live on television that would have been rich and resplendent for content, and I'm the coward?
In fairness, Tony stayed and you got up and left.
Yeah, that's true.
You didn't want to
I
play
stand on business,
Marlins
that's why.
versus
But
Panthers.
I don't want to. I wanted to play the other game.
Connor Gillespie.
Can we play the other game? Can we play the way that Tony sank the show with his mulkey shot that no one understood?
Evan Rodriguez. That's a tricky one, Dan.
Well, while you were gone, we watched the Kim Mulkey dap, and I feel like all of the confusion was settled. Like,
We united.
Yeah.
Incredible dap.
Okay.
Everybody should have
The
known
back
that.
row is
But wait a
united,
minute,
Dan.
how is the confusion settled when the interview got wrecked because Tony needed help and nobody gave it
You would
to
know
him?
if you didn't get up and leave.
Yeah.
But you
United
did.
we stand.
Yeah. United we stand on business.
USA.
The mulkey one. Who is the most conflicting now? Because we've had this happen in the history of the show. I'm stunned to say this, that while in our lifetime, Mike Ryan made the grandstanding play of quitting his lifetime team, the Cleveland Browns, because he could no longer celebrate
Well, he was lurking in the shadows the next
Okay,
season
you
when they were flirting with the playoffs. All of a sudden, it was kind of like, well, what happened with that stand again?
Okay, regardless, he made a moral stand virtue signaling and actually gave up his fandom and got accused of all sorts of things, but I felt like he left the team behind. When we talk about Mulkey or Michael Jackson, I genuinely ask you guys, where is the line? Like,
I thought Elle already sort of answered this well. I will also mention we came together. I don't want to take the opportunity to just like dump on Mike Ryan because he's not here. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Go on.
But the four of us did come together in the last segment off air and realize we all are really annoyed by something that Mike does every day that he hasn't been around to do, which is he carries around, when you were saying, the person that plays their Bluetooth speaker out loud without headphones, Mike comes in the morning and he plays music on his Bluetooth speaker and he walks around with it, but at a volume that is like difficult to...
It's an office-wide volume.
It's very loud and it's like the first thing in the morning, so
And nobody's listening
walk
to
into the makeup room and it's like, I can't really talk to Jesse. Like it's really loud, and then he'll leave the speaker in there sometimes and walk out, and then I'll get up and I'll lower the volume because I'm like, this is
my contouring's all off because Jesse hasn't heard what I've requested.
And then he'll
It's
come and
insane.
bring it in here while we do our pre-show meeting. And we all discovered in the last segment something we've never talked about before. None of us really like that.
Okay, but again, cowardice. Like, have you said this to him?
Well, we just did.
No, I've passive aggressively lowered the volume, but that's
He's listening.
I'm not interested in confronting him.
Oh,
over
well,
it.
so here, this is I'd like to do this on Wild Willie Wednesdays. I'd like to have this become a thing that Billy Gill brings to us on Wednesdays.
What's Wild Willie Wednesdays?
Yeah, who the fuck's Willie?
That's just alliteration on Billy Gill.
Willow. It's Willow.
So I want him tomorrow to make it so that we get stuck with just total chaos. As what are you laughing about back there?
Who the is Willie?
This one over here just says today wasn't good enough. I don't feel like I've caused any chaos. If anything, I'm trying to right the ship today. I've been doing my darndest to keep things on the rails today. Believe it or not, Ron McGill, who will be joining us shortly, I'm doing my best to make sure that we're staying on track.
I'm just sitting here.
I'm just trying to change the subject and shit on someone who's not here.
I want to do that on Wednesdays is what I'm saying. I want a list. You guys said that you didn't want to talk about Mike Ryan when he's not here. If there's a list, that seems like a reasonable complaint. Like a weekly office complaint that's brought by the group about somebody, I feel like should be fair game for all of us because those things should be spoken.
So you're saying spoiler Wednesday and shit on whoever's not here Wednesday and Wild Willie Wednesday are now all the same Wednesday?
There's proper channels, though, to deal with, inner office conflicts. I don't know that just airing it out is a good idea.
That's
It probably
historically
is a
what this
Slack
show
channel.
has done. Historically, it's just been done this way. I'm following the leader.
I will say this. You do kind of get a sense for the mood and what kind of day you're in store for depending on the music that's playing.
That's the thing.
So it is
That's
kind of
the
a
thing.
good tip sometimes.
Sometimes it's really heavy metal. At
If we're
8 a.m.
listening to
and I'm like, I don't
Korn,
need
we're in for a long one.
I don't need that. I never need it, actually.
You know what? I would love like a weekly caucus where we get together and somebody is being rude. What you've just said to me, I had not realized, and it's been happening for 3 years. Mike Ryan can absolutely alter the mood of everything we're doing with his musical choice in the morning.
He came in playing Chapel Roan the other day, and it literally led to our whole show discussing that and a new parody song and all of this fun. But then he'll come in playing heavy metal music, screamo at 8:10 in the morning, and it's like, hey man, it's already an hour drive.
I didn't even realize that it was playing that loud, though. I thought it was just something he was occasionally doing because he got here first. He gets here
occasionally.
Yeah, I thought he would. I don't know why music's only playing when he's here. It's not playing any other time.
That's right.
Exactly.
I think it's a new thing for your show where you just shit on the person who's not here.
That's what we do every
It's
time.
not a new-
yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
a new
new.
thing.
It's every day.
All right, Ron McGill is with us now.
The things I have heard about myself.
Tomorrow it's my turn.
Yes, tomorrow. Gather your list.
Everything's about Jeremy, by the way.
On Wild Willie
Yep.
Wednesday, yes. Gather your things.
Make a confession just since we're coming clean on when we're talking bad about each other. So, like, earlier today, Jeremy was across the street, and you said Jeremy's joining us from the weeds, and I just said to Jess and Tony, I hope he catches Lyme disease.
What?
And I apologize for that.
Which is really mean.
It is really mean. I didn't mean it, but it just, in the weeds, it was a joke that was just there. It was funny. So I'm sorry to everyone.
Ron, animals can get vaccinated for Lyme disease, right? But there's no human vaccine for it. Is that correct?
No, animals don't get vaccinated for Lyme disease. I don't believe. No, they can carry Lyme disease without showing symptoms. They can be asymptomatic, so they can be, conduits to transmit Lyme disease, but they don't necessarily show symptoms, and I don't think they can be vaccinated against it.
Do animals just take the shot, or do they do their own research?
No, they just take the shot, Billy. Somebody's got to hold them, generally speaking, but they take the shot like your kid,
What are some of the animals? Let's do a top 3 list here, a top 5 list of animals that Ron McGill has had an experience with while trying to give a shot. I'm sure that he's got. Do you have a list of 5 here that you could do off the top of your head because you're around animals during surgery and during emergency situations?
I don't usually give the shots. There have been some exceptions to that. Usually it's the veterinarians that do that. But, I have given shots to rhinos before. I've given shots to a giraffe before. I've given shots to crocodiles before. Well, why is that one the tada and the other ones were down?
They all got tadas. You're just hearing it wrong.
Is it like a really thick needle for the crocodiles? Like, how do you penetrate
It is
hide?
it is thick, and what we have to do is we have the crocodile in a type of chute. We put it like it's like a tube, and we have an access to a hole in the tube, so the crocodile just doesn't really much have a choice. I know that sounds kind of cruel, but it's also for the safety of ourselves and the crocodile.
Well, because you can't have it buck all over the place, right? Like it's got to be
Exactly, and they're incredibly powerful. So, generally speaking, we used to have a transport tube. We made this big, it's like an aluminum tube that has handles on the side that we get the crocodile to come through the tube, and then we hold them in the tube there, and we have access to the sides of the tube to do whatever kinds of treatment we need to do.
The rhino, is that a difficult?
The rhino, we use a thinner gauge needle, and the rhino, once you're giving him his carrots and giving him his hay, distract him at the side, it just feels like a mosquito bite to him, so it's not much of a big thing.
There is a Lyme vaccine for dogs, Ron, but apparently not a thing that's common in Florida because there's not a lot of Lyme down here. Apparently,
Lyme disease is not found in this hot climates.
New York is the hotbed right now where Willow's from.
How does it work, Ron? If someone, can you tell me about the tick? Because I have heard stories from people coming back from places without realizing that they have a tick on them. Like what ends up happening there?
It's not a guarantee you're getting Lyme disease by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I've been in rainforests where I've come back, and the ticks are tiny when they get onto you. But when they start gorging themselves with blood is when you realize that they're there. And, at the risk of giving you too much information, you don't realize until you're in the shower and you start rubbing around, you think, oh my God, what's growing here? What's growing here? Because they tend to get in the dark crevices of your body, and they expand there. And then you realize, oh my God. And then you have to realize you have to be very careful to get them off because you can't pull them off. And sometimes their head remains there where the body comes off. And that is a portal for infection.
I want to play a couple of videos here for Ron. Let's start with these dolphins here and see what it is that he can tell us about. He's told us many, many times it's the smartest of animals, but the curiosity of these dolphins.
Yeah, I think, that's, of course, when the spaceship there came back to Earth, those poor astronauts are up there for 8 or 9 months, and I think the dolphins are both curious. They're intelligent. They're looking around. It's obviously a new thing in their area here. There's a lot of attention there, and I think it's almost like a childlike curiosity that they're checking it out. They're very curious about it.
The dolphin, when you talk about intellect, you would say the highest form of example of a dolphin being smarter than all the other animals is?
I can't give you an exact example. I can tell you how dolphins tend to navigate and how they tend to understand, dolphin therapy, a lot of therapy for autistic children, nonverbal children. The way dolphins seem to be able to communicate and connect with those children, to me, it's profoundly moving. I've seen that happen on several occasions. As a matter of fact, I've seen a child who wasn't, quote unquote, nonverbal actually start verbalizing around a dolphin, and the dolphins seemed to understand that there was a connection there. So
wait. What? Wait a minute. You said you've seen a child who wasn't verbal at all speak just when in the company of a dolphin?
Yeah, and when I say speak, I don't say, come out with entire sentences, but start uttering sounds where they would not do that at all before. I've seen that happen on 2 different occasions. To where the parents just burst out in tears. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. So there's a power there. There's a connection there. And I think, when you look at the size of the brain of a dolphin, I mean, really relative to its size of the rest of the body, it's very, very similar to a human being.
Ron, when you talk about smart animals, if I put up your dolphin, but I say octopus.
Ooh.
Because you can put them in a jar and they can find their way to get out of the jar.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Smarter animal, dolphin or octopus?
Well, the octopus got a lot of big publicity with that movie that came out, the Oscar-winning movie. I think My Friend the Octopus or something like that.
My Octopus Teacher, I think.
The Octopus Teacher, there you go. And they are incredibly intelligent as far as being able to navigate things, the way they can change their color, the way they can camouflage, the way they can escape almost anything. I mean, you look at an octopus that's, bigger than your fist, and it can get through 1/8 of an inch of an opening area. And it's pretty incredible. So they tend to be very, I guess, opportunistic. They're very resourceful. as far as solving puzzles and thinking the way a dolphin does, I just don't think the octopus is that intelligent. I think they're very intelligent. I don't want to take anything away from the octopus, but I do think the dolphin.
Whoa! You just said
What
they're
are you
not
worrying
that.
about?
Well, you just said they're not that intelligent.
They're more of
That's
a
not,
I didn't say they're
contortionist is
as
what you're
intelligent. I said they're not as intelligent as a dolphin.
you said
Don't
you
be
said
putting
they're
words
not
in my
that
mouth.
intelligent. That's a controversial thing to say. That's controversial. What you've just said there. The
No,
octopus.
you like controversy.
No, the octopus is
you
widely
like that.
the octopus is widely regarded as one of the smartest animals, and you're out here you're disrespecting
And I
the
said
octopus.
it's not, in my personal opinion, is not as intelligent as a dolphin.
Yeah, well, that's not exactly what you said. You said not that.
No, that is
smart.
exactly what I said. You stopped me when I said it's not as intelligent. Okay, I didn't
Not
say
that
the
smart.
octopus is not intelligent.
Not
I didn't
that
say that,
smart.
Dan.
Not that
Stop
smart.
it.
Is
You know,
what you said.
God, you just love this kind of
Give me,
controversy.
give me the example of you being in a surgery with an animal and an animal. The greatest example you have, the animal coming awake because the anesthesia didn't last as long as it should have, and all of a sudden you got some real danger in the surgical area.
Well, we weren't actually in the hospital in surgery. This is when I first started at the old Crandon Park Zoo. We had a chimpanzee, a male chimpanzee. His name was Colonel, and we anesthetized him, and we had to pull him out of the enclosure, and we put him on the grass next to a canal there. He was totally out. You know, they used the drug, which everybody knows about now, called ketamine, and he was out. And Dr. Hubble, I'll never forget that the veterinarian was kneeled between his legs, leaning over. He had to suture up his arm. He had cut his arm badly, so we had to suture up the arm. But of course, we had to have him anesthetized and mobilized to do that. So I'm holding one arm, and another gentleman's holding the other arm, and Dr. Hubble's on his knees between his legs, leaning over, sewing up his arm. And then all of a sudden, Colonel just sat up, got right in front of Dr. Hubble's face, and just went, I like that. The one guy on the one arm literally jumped into the canal. I froze. I panicked and just froze, and I just stood there. And then all of a sudden, and Dr. Hubble didn't move either. He just looked at him. This chimp, if you've never heard a chimp scream in your face, it's something, it's blood curdling. And then all of a sudden, his eyes rolled back into his head, and he just kind of went and fell back down. So he was going through some type of hallucination because of the ketamine. And I looked at Dr. Hubble. I said, Doc. He goes, that sometimes happens with this drug. They have
And
these
it weirdly
hallucinations."
cured his depression too.
Well, I got to tell you what, I had to change my pants after that. That
Well,
was one of the
I was just going to ask you, did you actually and literally shit your pants?
You know, I don't know if I shit my pants, but I certain bodily fluids escaped my body at that time. Let's leave it at that.
It was a shark, Dan.
Baby.
I'm not going to leave it at that. Ron, you have often given us totally horrifying, terrifying situations. I don't think that's even the greatest story that you have as it regards not even a live chimp, a dead chimp screaming.
Oh, that was the orangutan.
Or the orangutan.
When I was digging it out of the, that was horrible.
No, but number of times you have shit your pants in one of these situations, actually.
Oh, I've ever actually shit my pants. I mean, I might have passed some gas. I don't.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've gone too far.
Yes, I think you have.
Well, I just thought that
literal shit stirrer.
Well, but that's correct, and I would have. You've been correcting everybody this segment.
I've been right. I've been right a lot.
Every time you've been right. I have found that, Ron, your stories when it comes to this is a truly horrifying thing. Like you would not have any other instances in which you would ever find yourself this kind of scared.
No, I was really scared when that chimp said, because a chimp can rip your arm off and then beat you with it. I mean, a chimp is a very, very dangerous animal.
That's
We've all heard
insulting.
about chimps attacking people, and this is one of the biggest male chimps I've ever seen in my life. He looked like a small gorilla. And to have him get up, be fast asleep, and all of a sudden open his eyes wide, and that scream is just that, and these big canines sticking out. I mean, let me tell you something. And he's right. And I couldn't believe Hubble didn't just jump in the water. The one guy, Leroy Van, he jumped in the water. I sat there in fear. I was an idiot because I could have been killed. I should have jumped in the water too. Fortunately, the thing just passed back out. But that's like, I think it was like the second week I started as a zookeeper, man. I'd never been exposed to that kind of thing. And it's just, that's blood curdling stuff. That was very frightening.
Have you ever
One time I was working for Bill Hosto when I was working at the Miami Serpentarium, my very first job. And I had to open up the right side of the lab. And there was one room where the king cobras were. And I remember I'd go in and open the door, turn on the lights, and a king cobra had gotten out. And I opened the door, and literally 8 feet in front of me, this king cobra just goes right up in front of my face. And whoa! And I just backed up, closed the door, and I went, Mr. Haas, I think there's one out. And he went in there and he just went, oh, yeah, there is. Let me put it back. And I was like, oh, my God, are you kidding me?
Have you ever had a moment like that where you actually said to yourself, early in your career, where you said, I don't know if this is for me?
I'll tell you the hard thing for me. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. One of the first things they taught me when I went around is they were feeding condors. And the gentleman was feeding the condor a live rabbit. Now, this is back 45 years ago. We don't really do that anymore. But I remember the condor getting the rabbit and the rabbit screaming. And I just said to myself, no, I don't think I can do this. Even though it's nature, this is what happens in nature. I said to myself, I don't think I can do this. That was very difficult for me. Fortunately, we've gone past that. We don't feed live animals to animals anymore. But that was a moment that it did hit me. It haunted me for several days after that.
Well, it sounds for several years, the way that you're talking. All of us are reacting the same way to that.
Yeah, it was. Listen, I'm not going to lie. It was a very difficult thing to watch, even though, the person at the time was insisting, no, this is what gets them their natural behaviors going. And in fact, we were breeding those condors, and several of the condor chicks that hatched out at Crandon Park Zoo are now flying free in Colombia. They were released back into the wild. That was the most productive pair of condors, Andean condors, in the country at the time. And it was because they were provided all these natural behaviors. So, I mean, listen, I'd be a bit of a hypocrite, because the bottom line is, we've got to feed these animals. It's a circle of life. And I just think that the animals can be more humanely put down, as opposed to putting them in there live and having them fight for their life.
Ron, I didn't know there was a zoo at Crandon Park. It says it closed in the 80s. What was the story with the Crandon Park Zoo?
Yeah, that's where I first started working. It was a beautiful place. As far as the zoo goes, it was really horrific, especially when you look back at some of the classic cages with the metal bars, the concrete floors, maybe a tire hanging from a rope for the chimps. It was really everything that is terrible about zoos. But they didn't know better back then. Everything back then was a different mindset. People, fortunately, have come a long way and realized that this is no way to maintain animals. So there's been improvements. Having said that, listen, in a perfect world, and I know that's going to sound strange coming from me, we wouldn't need any zoos. In a perfect world, everybody would be able to go out to Africa, see the animals in the African plains, the Amazon, the Arctic, see these animals in their natural environment. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world. Most people will never be able to see that. And I know, as a kid who grew up in a small apartment in New York City, being able to go to the Bronx Zoo planted a seed in me that has enabled me to, raise millions of dollars to protect animals in the wild where they belong. But having said that, if the zoo is the last place that these animals can safely live, then zoos have failed, and what should be their number one priority, and that's to protect animals in the wild.
Ron, earlier I think you were talking about a chimp ripping off a person's arm and beating them with
Insulting.
It really is insulting. Is that necessary, and have you actually seen it? It seems like at that point it's adding insult to injury. Like, if you've taken my arm, why do you need to beat me with it also?
I was kind of setting up an example. The reality is, when chimps come at you, one of the first things they do is they try to bite off your genitals.
That's the reality? The first thing a chimp does when it comes up to you is tries to bite off your genitals.
That's how they fight each other. They go right for the genitals. They try to bite them off.
Well, hold on a second. Do you have chimps sans genitals at the zoo because they're biting them off?
That's insulting.
No, because we've worked very hard to have a cohesive troop of chimps. But if rival... You can almost equate it to gangs. You can see chimps in the wild when they go into. I agree with you, Dan. I'm rubbing my eyes.
No.
Down a bad rabbit hole.
I'm sorry.
We're going down a bad rabbit hole here, Dan.
We're learning. Grow up.
You wanted the information,
Ron.
so that's
Braiding
what they
genitals.
do. These chimps will fight with each other, and yes, a very common battle tactic in rival chimps is to go after the genitals.
Fight's over at that point, right? Like, whoever wins the genital biting contest, it's done, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's over. That's over. It's over.
But then you're primed for the next battle, right? Once you don't have genitals, you really have the upper hand in the next battle. Because they have nothing to bite off. You just get honestly, if you're done reproducing as a chimp, take my genitals. I don't need my genitals anymore. I don't need little chimps running around that I then need to support or badmouth to go off to college.
Billy, you planning to have any more kids?
Honestly, you can take my genitals at this point. I'm learning. Probably make my life more difficult if I have more. I'm out of room at the Gill Manor. There's no more room in the inn. You know what I mean? And unless I'm getting some sort of raise, we're out of rooms there. So I don't have any more room for these kids. So take my genitals, and then if I was a chimp, you take my genitals,
Billy,
dude.
let me
I'm going
ask you-
undefeated, champion of the world. Just you know what I mean? Eating genitals left.
Was
and
that
right.
all your genitals were good for? Is just reproducing? There's nothing else you use those genitals for.
Nah, I've been married.
What
for
if the
5
raise
years.
was dependent on having another kid? You have another kid, you then get a raise.
I get another raise for having a kid? Yeah, sign me up.
Okay, deal.
I don't know if that's binding.
What about me?
You got to get things in
Talk
writing
to
at
Skip.
Metal Arc. I want it
Skip,
to be,
Dan said.
I want it to be orally binding right there.
I have never heard of anyone so willing to forfeit their genitals in my life.
It was shocking. Put it on the poll, please. Is the fight won by the first genital biter? Because I do believe that you guys have got that right. Like that's the fight is over.
It's over. It's over.
At that point, and I was unaware after all of these years doing this with you so the chimp is savvy that way. Like the chimp has learned over many years of evolution. I'm just going in first for the kill right there. That's my sweet spot.
Bite his balls off.
That's exactly right, guys. That's the male chimps. That's how they go after each other.
Oh my God, Ron, good seeing you. Thank you. Much of what it is that he's talking about will be on display when he unretires on April 13th. His Sex and the Animals presentation, which has an assortment of amazing scientific facts in it and is fun for the whole family.
And mutilated genitalia.
Some of the family.
Fun for the whole family, Ron? Can I say that April 13th is fun for the whole family, or this is more of
Not the whole family, Dan. It's 21 and over, brother.
All right, it's an adult presentation.
There you go.
Okay. See you, Ron. Good seeing you.
Have a good one, guys.
Roy, are the boldest takes around here getting any better? Are they improving?
Not really.
Okay, so 305-486-GOTS is the number. 305-486-GOTS, 4689. We have a dedicated line for the listeners to produce content for us on the boldest take from the weekend line, and I have been very disappointed so far with what it is that's gathered there.
Well, don't expect it to get any better. The Boost Mobile boldest take from the weekend is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country. That's 305-486-GOTZ.
By far, the worst name in sports is the Los Angeles Angels. It's the Angels.
Hi, this is Steve from Denver. First time, long time. My hot take is that Joe Burrow is a modern-day Dan Marino happening right before our eyes. Early success makes it to the big game. Everyone thinks he'll be back, and he'll never get back.
Kermit the Frog here, calling for Jessica. Hey now, call me.
Guys, it's Curtis from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm going to zig while everyone's zagging on inflation. Big Banana should be charging more than they are. Every time I go and buy bananas, I'm shocked by how cheap they are, and I'm not rich by any stretch. If Big Banana wanted to charge me $1 a banana, I'd be fine with it.
Hey, this is Will from Grand Rapids with a limited fake Mufasa. Simba!
Hey, this is Will on a mobile in a car. Just wanted to say that fancy ballpark food, incredibly overrated. I do not need $30 sliders. Give me a hot dog, give me soda, give me popcorn, maybe give me ice cream in the little cup, but other than that, screw it. I'll hang up and listen.
Hey, what's good? First time, long time. It's Church on a mobile. I got a limited fake. It's Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey.
If the blue were made of spare ribs, would you eat it? 'Cause I know I would.
Hey, this is Sledge from Ohio. I've got my my limited fake Poppy saying straw man. You know what? I'm gonna call back.